Get debt relief now. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharkies. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Oh, it's perfect, all right.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
The next disaster is coming. Make a plan. Keep extra medication on hand. Make copies of important documents. Stay informed and be ready. Learn more at americares.org/sendusin.
Aloha! Dreaming of sandy beaches and ocean breezes? JTV's Tropical Treasure Sweepstakes could make that dream come true. Enter for your chance to win a fabulous Hawaiian getaway for two with luxury accommodations, airfare, and spending cash. Plus, just for entering, get $30 off your next qualifying JTV purchase of at least $99 when you opt in for emails. Don't miss out. Visit jtv.com/sweeps and enter by August 3rd. JTV, where paradise awaits.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Midday Tuesday in the mid-80s, highs today in the upper 80s, a big difference from the past few days here. Humidity levels dip a little bit today. Overnight we're in the mid to upper 60s, slightly less humid heading into Wednesday with highs in the upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 163 points to 44,486.
Bryce in the pocket, steps up, eludes the rush, throws, end zone, caught, Adam Thielen, touchdown!
He'll toss it that way to Hampton, and he is in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hashes, QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is third of the night.
Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits! Game over! Series over! Sebastian!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. On a Tuesday, but it kind of feels like Friday because tomorrow we're at ACC kickoff, the media day in Charlotte. There's one day until Panthers training camp practice begins. It's so close. We're almost there, everybody. Football season, we're almost there. And we're not almost to the Big 3 at 3. We are actually at the Big 3 at 3. So let's go ahead and jump into it. By the way, I got excited. I'm Tim Donnelly.
Number 1.
Got excited again. I'm Tim Donnelly. Dennis Cox producing the show. There's one day till training camp. I'm talking over everybody today. Number 1, ironically, is there is one day until training camp, and that means that's training camp practice. That means a lot of the veterans reported today for the Carolina Panthers, rookies yesterday, coaches, GMs, everybody's all hands on deck for them to start the NFL season. And a question that really encapsulates everything that we've talked about for the Carolina Panthers for an entire offseason. From the moment their season ended last year, through decisions on who to keep, who to re-sign, through the draft, through free agency, through it all, there's really one question we're trying to answer. How is this year going to be different than last year? Last year wasn't good enough. Picked 8th overall, didn't make the playoffs, didn't compete for the division, started off bad, ended strong. But how is this year going to be better than last year? Well, Robert Hunt, who, if he wasn't an offensive lineman, I think would be much more highly discussed as potentially the best player on the Carolina Panthers, but offensive linemen just so rarely are thrown into those conversations. One of the guards up front, Robert Hunt, was asked about the vibe and how it's different this year compared to last year. This is what he had to say up there in Charlotte.
I think last year was nobody knew, you know what I mean? Including me, I got into a situation here, not really knowing what I was getting into. Didn't know much about Carolina, didn't know much about the Panthers, never really watched them, kept up with them. But then getting into the building, getting into the stadium and playing the game stuff, you see, I don't know, you can feel it, man. It's, this city, speaking for the city, has a lot of hope. They want winners, and you can feel it once it's kind of close. We won 5 games last year, which is not great by any means, but it felt like we were doing something great. You know what I mean? Because it's the city looking for it. So that vibe feels great. The team vibe feels great. I feel like the teams feel that, and we all want to be good, man, no matter what it is.
I agree with what he's saying there. Last year there was so much unknown when it comes to decision makers like coaches, GM, everything changed, bunch of new players, a lot of unknown. And I think that's why some of the expectations preseason last year may have run away with us. Because you could look at anything, and if you imagined the highest possible out of the range of outcomes for everything, you could talk yourself into something special happening, right? If the offensive line came together and gelled and the guards improved everything, and if Xavier Legette, as a late first-round pick, played a little above his draft status, and if Dave Canales corrected all the mistakes that Bryce Young was making immediately, and if all of those things happened, you could have talked yourself into something. This year, there are fewer unknowns. Still some, still a good amount, but fewer. So right, probably the floor is a little bit higher. We know what kind of coach Dave Canales is. We know what kind of players Dan Morgan is trying to bring in. We know about the offensive line. We know a little bit more. Now, you only need 3 or 4 things to hit the top end of those range of outcomes, and you could have a pretty special season, at least comparatively to what we've been seeing from the Carolina Panthers. We'll talk about that more as the show goes along, but right now in the Big 3 at 3, it's time for number 2.
Number 2.
Jim Phillips, the ACC commissioner. Today is actually the opening day of ACC Media Days, ACC kickoffs. We will be joining the festivities starting tomorrow because that's when the schools that we tend to cover and care a little bit more about start making their way through. But Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC, did kind of make his opening statement for the conference, and we have the audio for you. We'll dive into a whole bunch of clips at about 3:15, but I'll give you just a little taste here. Here's Jim Phillips on the changes in college sports and how everything is developing in an ever-changing world.
As we move forward and continue to meet this true reset moment, we must remember that everything will not be perfect immediately. We know we must get this right, which we take very seriously. We're being thoughtful about every detail and are committed to progress through learning, adapting, and strengthening the model to support and protect college sports for generations to come. And the obligation to get this right is one the entire industry shares, from me and my fellow commissioners to university presidents, athletic directors, and coaches. We have to commit to structure, exercise restraint, and be intentional about resetting the culture of college athletics.
That's a nice little speech. That's a good, I like the thought behind it. Your head's in the right place. There is one thing that I've continuously asked for more of from Jim Phillips. And it's kind of the ugly part of the business, right? It's one of those you don't want to see how the sausage gets made scenarios. I want more selfishness from Jim Phillips. and as you just heard right there's a lot of talking about, the unification of all of college sports, or all of the conference commissioners and presidents, and what's best for college sports, which I think is noble. But I also think you got to watch out for me, myself, and I. And when I say that, I mean the ACC. I don't think if you went to the leadership for the SEC, I don't think if you went to the leadership for the Big Ten or many of the other conferences, they're out for what's the best of conference and college football as a whole. I think they're out for making sure my conference thrives, my conference survives, and my conference ends up at the end of all of this change in a better position than they were at the beginning of all of this change. This is not, I'm sure there's like nonprofits and stuff technically. This is not a charity, right? This is, the ACC is in a land grab. How many, if there are auto bids in the conference playoff, the college football playoff, how many did the ACC get? I saw SMU's head coach was arguing for, 3-3-3-2, where the ACC had the same amount of auto bids as the Big Ten and the SEC. I think there's a lot of logic that says that shouldn't happen. But if you're in the ACC, you should absolutely argue for it. Don't give things away that aren't negotiated. So you'll hear me say that throughout. I mean, I've been saying it for years, so I don't think I'm going to stop now. I want the ACC to look out for the ACC a bit more. Less like, oh, we're going to get together and collaborate, and more, this is what's best. That's number 2. Let's head to number 3 at the Big 3 at 3.
Number 3.
Phillip Rivers retires a Charger. Phillip Rivers, he hasn't played in the NFL in 4 years, but he did the old one-day signing thing to retire as a Charger. I'm going to be honest, and those of you that covered Phillip Rivers at NC State, those of you that have followed him throughout his career, as many college fans do, right? The guys that go to your college, you root for him in the pros. I thought he was going to be like Vinny Testaverde or I don't know why I'm like Satchel Paige, one of those guys who's like, if the right coach has like 4 or 5 injuries at the quarterback position and Phillip Rivers is like 47 years old, he's still sitting there like, hey coach, just give me a call. I can give you 2 weeks. I can get you to the bye until your starter can get healthy. Matter of fact, if you watch the videos, and there's some really cool videos of the retirement by Phillip Rivers. He did it at his home down there in I think Alabama, but the Chargers ended up flying in a bunch of his offensive linemen to surprise him because, right, quarterback, offensive linemen have cool relationships. And at one point he tells them, like, this contract better be longer than 1 day. I still got something left. Once you wait 4 years to retire, I thought he was going to wait 14, right? Wait till he's in his 60s and then finally call him up and be like, all right, I'm giving up the availability. I'm going to retire now. Because he's a football psycho in the best way.
It's one of those situations where I was like, wait a second, he didn't officially retire already? Because he, like you said, he hasn't played in 3-4 years. Yeah. I thought he had already done it.
He's been coaching at St. Michael's High School, I think in Alabama, right near where the Senior Bowl plays. And he's got some kids coming up that are recruits. Like I thought there was, I thought he was going to just keep the option open, right? Nothing's off the table forever and ever. Because tell me you don't think Phillip Rivers would have a great time if like a quarterback coach from that he had, 15 years ago doesn't work their way up into being a head coach. They're kind of running the same system, get hit with a bunch of injuries, and he's just like, I mean, I'll give you 2 weeks. I'm not practicing, but I'll give you 2 weeks. One of the all-time mic'd up players in the history of the game. He'll hit you with a golly darn with a bunch of non-curse words better than anybody. Hall of Famer, Phillip Rivers. 6th most passing yards of all time. 6th most passing touchdowns of all time.
I think he gets in.
Without the accolades, right? Never an MVP, never an All-Pro. Was a comeback player of the year. I think he's a step above the Ring of Honor complex, guys. I think it's close enough to have a real conversation, and maybe we will a little bit later on in the show. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the Big 3 at 3. As you heard me mention just a few minutes ago, ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips gave his opening statements on the ACC as we enter into the next school and athletic seasons. We have more audio for you. What does it mean for basketball, the changes happening, and much, much more. Stick around.
It's Bo time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's Bo time.
There's no time like Bo time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or 2 Bird Dog Combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
Hey, daydreamer. Did we catch you thinking about your dreams? With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for them. So let's imagine your biggest dream. Not the easy one, the one behind it. The one you work towards every day and every night. Can you see it? Then we can help you plan for it. Ready to start planning for your dreams? You can at wellsfargo.com/getpremier.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
We will continue to push for federal legislation that will support our efforts to ensure a uniform, stable, and legally sound future. Recently, a bipartisan group of Congress members sponsored the SCORE Act, designed to address issues that threaten college sports, but cannot be solved in the legal settlement in June. Creating a national standard, as opposed to state-by-state differences, codifies the student-athlete's right to earn money for their NIL and is paramount importance in ensuring that all institutions are operating under the same law.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is part of the ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips' opening remarks at ACC Media Days earlier today. There are kind of 2 ways to handle the ever-changing rules, oftentimes kind of established and potentially enforced by court rulings and legislation and lawsuits. One is to wait around and wait until you're told what is allowed or isn't allowed. The other is to think everything that you haven't expressly been told is against the rules is fair game. And if you're going to win in the next few years, I think the latter is kind of the only way to operate. Right? That's kind of how NIL was and has been. And I know they're trying to rein some of it back in, but it's really hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Right? If you're waiting for uniform rules that impact the entire country and are effective in every single conference and in every single school, I think you're just falling behind the 8 ball. Because there's others that are going, I don't think that's legal, or I don't think that applies here. Go, go, go. And they're going to get a few more recruits or operate a little bit differently. And being able to take advantage of things as they become available becomes massively important. Now, there's kind of 2 major conversations happening at all these media days, right? All of the conferences. Obviously, actually, I'll say 3. There's obviously the football, right? You're talking to good players about how excited they are for the season, and you're talking to coaches about the football. Then there's how do you see the NIL world changing, right? Revenue share, that's kind of what we've played for you a few times from Jim Phillips. Then there's college football playoff. They went to the 12 teams this past year, didn't get it right because they had the automatic conference champion buys and home, and it ended up being where it was like better to be the 6th seed than the 2nd seed based on it was they didn't get it right, but they're tweaking it and going again. And they're going to continue to do that. Right? Everyone's pretty open with the fact that the CFP, the college football playoff, is not in its final form. Jim Phillips here makes the emphasis that winning your conference should matter with the college football playoff. Here's Jim Phillips.
I've always believed in rewarding conference champions. And if you're in a really good conference, I think like we have across the P4, and you're also part of the G6, conference championships matter. And that's been consistent in my 5 years, that they should be rewarded. Fairness and access should also be part of the equation. And so we have a really good playoff right now. It's the 5-7 model. I'm open to 5-9 and 5-11. I always look to our championships to try to have as much access as possible within reason. It has to make sense. I think 5-7 allows about 9% of those that play college football at the FBS level a chance to get into the playoff. And it goes up about 1.5%. So I think you get to nearly 12% if you go to a 5-11 model.
I wholeheartedly agree that winning your conference should matter. I also wholeheartedly agree that conference championships matter regardless of CFP. And I know that because of college basketball. Right, because obviously when you say I want the conference championships to matter when it comes to CFP inclusion, you want it to be where the only way you can guarantee that you make it into the college football playoff is if you win your conference championship. And if you start having auto bids to different conferences, right, if you say 3 automatic bids for the SEC or Big Ten or ACC or whoever, then once you're in the conference championship, and if you're one of the 2 highest ranked teams, it pretty much, winners make it and losers make it, right? You're both already in. Well, that happens in college basketball all the time, right? There are years where in the ACC conference championship basketball game, it's like the number 1 team in the country against the number 5 team in the country. And I guess they might be fighting for seeds in the NCAA tournament, but they're both going to make it. Yet they still sell out, try hard, go all out because conference championships matter just on their own. I don't think it's impossible to have multiple auto bids for certain conferences and still have conference championships feel like they are important because they just are. That being said, I don't know if I love the 5-11. I don't know if I love multiple auto bids. It's not easy, right? I don't think there's a right answer here. So if I'm Jim Phillips, I'm just looking for what helps the ACC the best. And if that means, I'm kind of for auto bids as long as the ACC gets the same amount as the SEC and the Big Ten. If there's auto bids that make the ACC obviously a second tier, if it's 4 for them and 2 or 3 for the ACC, then I look at it and go, I'm not for that.
Well, I think if you go to the, name your conference gets 3 in automatically, well, then that devalues the conference championship.
It does.
In my eyes. So I think making the conference championship matters. In my eyes, Phillips is saying, yeah, the winner should go. Everyone else should be based on merit from the entire regular season, not just because, well, you're 3rd best in the SEC, you're going to be automatically in there, so you don't have to fight for a conference title. No, I'm with it. If you win a conference championship, it should definitely matter. Then everything else should not be an auto bid.
The only difference is, like in college basketball, it's that way, obviously, but not everybody, but in a lot of ways, a lot of the conference makes the conference tournament in basketball, so you can have Cinderellas. If basketball were just, you pick the 2 best teams at the end of the season and put them in a conference championship, they absolutely would both be getting in, and all they would be, quote unquote, all they would be playing for is the conference championship and the banner that you raise with the conference championship. I think schools will always care about conference championships regardless of if you need it to get into the CFP or not, because there's prestige there, and that's a goal that a lot of people have, is to win the ACC or Big Ten or whatever it is. Let's move on to more Jim Phillips content here. I say this a lot. basketball has to matter, right? When you talk about the future of college sports, I'm not saying it's more important than football. I'm not saying it's 40% of football. I don't know what it is, but basketball has to matter. And Jim Phillips here says men's basketball is vital to the ACC.
Basketball is the crown jewel of all of our championships, I think. CFP certainly is really important and draws an awful lot, ends up being a financial engine for all of us. But I think the country really enjoys March like nothing else.
I agree with that as well. March Madness is awesome. You want to hear the dirty little secret about that? I think that makes it way more plausible that football could break off and do their own thing. Because then you can just go, you still have March Madness, it's $1 billion, it's all the, like, you'll still have, we're not asking you to turn everything into Division III, right? We're not asking you to turn it into club sports. We're going to take football over here because it's become a behemoth that you can't really contain, and basketball will then be your crown jewel in the exact way that Jim Phillips just described it, and that March Madness will continue to be a cash cow because I don't see, how it could be ruined unless you make it like 96 teams. Speaking of, that's another conversation that's happening a lot, and I don't get why. Jim Phillips' address, does the NCAA tournament expansion make sense?
Logistically, it has to make sense. The compression of when tournaments finish, and then when you have the Masters, which obviously with a partner like CBS, you're not going to change that, only allows you a certain amount of time to get these games in. So you can't hastily expand the tournament if you haven't looked at that and player safety and number of games and what it would mean for travel and how you would work those additional 4-8. But as I said earlier, I always like additional access for teams and for schools when it's the right time and when it's the right tournament and format.
All right, I'm gonna end this just how I started talking about Jim Phillips. And this is like, kids do not operate this way in your life. Sometimes in business, you got to be cutthroat. Stop being so darn worrying about others. Stop being so considerate. You're worried about the Masters? Listen, I love the Masters. I was disappointed yesterday. The lottery came out. I didn't get tickets to the Masters. I'm a golf nerd. Who cares if CBS has to do something else with the Masters, or you have to, like, it's who? Don't, like, you do you, make other people go around you is kind of what I'm looking at here. That's the way the best, like, the NFL schedules on Saturday every single chance they can. Whenever the law says they are allowed to schedule games on Saturday, they do it, and they don't care if there's college football going on. They're scheduling on, remember, the ACC used to own Thursdays. Thursday night football used to be drag-out ACC football, and it was awesome. NFL said, oh, football works on Thursday? We'll take that. And now they have competition. They're not worried about you. Nobody else is worried about you, and you're making all these, well, we got to make sure CBS and the Masters can work it out together. You're March Madness. You're the NCAA. You're a behemoth. Throw your weight around a little bit.
Yeah, well, CBS also doesn't want to have something competing against itself. That's the thing. Like, CBS broadcasting the Masters.
I get that.
Yeah.
Let CBS figure it out.
I don't think they would. CBS is going to say no.
Cool.
That's
then
what they're going to do.
Play them on Monday. Play them on Wednesday. Like, actually, the first four already is on Tuesday and Wednesday, right? You're not playing golf on Tuesday and Wednesday? You're going to put more teams there? You're going to put more games there? Do it. It's like we need to get a collaboration. We need all of college sports to get together. We have to make sure that there's no inconveniences on our broadcast partners. Fight for the ACC for me one time. You might lose some fights, by the way. You probably will. But go down with, like, your ACC flag waving, right? No one else is looking out for the ACC is what I'm saying. So, again, don't operate this way in life. But in business, sometimes you got to be cutthroat. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. See, now I have to transition to, like, No, actually, now we're going to go to a business that is not cutthroat and actually wants to help you a ton. So, sometimes in business, you can be the nice one. That's what Miller Lending and Gordon Miller do. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. They are a mortgage broker. And what that means is when you are looking for your mortgage, you can go to Miller Lending. They can shop around for rates, go to 25, 30 different lenders and find the lowest rate for you. And then on top of that, Miller Lending wants to do something else for you. Once they find the lowest rate, they want to hook you up with something called a no closing cost loan. A no closing cost loan means no fees, no costs, no surcharges. It doesn't get rolled over into something else. No closing costs when you lock in your mortgage with Miller Lending. It's something Gordon Miller's been doing since 1987. Miller Lending's been doing since they showed up here in the Triangle. Locally owned, by the way, right here in Cary. So Miller Lending is one of those businesses, right? I'm like, you got to be cutthroat. They're like, well, actually, we're actually just going to be really nice to our customers. We're going to hook them up, and we're going to give them the flexibility so if rates drop in the future, they can refinance with no costs and no fees once again and lower their monthly payment with no money out of their pocket. That's just a company helping you. If you want them to help you out, if you want them to shop around for your mortgage rate and hook you up with a no closing cost loan, the number to call is 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377, or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. When we come back, we have the Dean's List. Who deserves a little extra recognition in the college sports world? Stick around.
This just in, hot off the bench press. Planet Fitness has expanded strength equipment. Save $28 or more when you join today. We're raising the bar with these benches, and our hack squat will have you actually looking forward to leg day. Plus, we're still repping all the best-in-class equipment we've always had. There's no better time to get stronger. So join Planet Fitness today and save. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
Offer ends July 31st.
See Home Club for details.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying ported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Is your heating and air system handling the hot weather okay? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. If you do that, by the way, you may get a little sneak preview of some of the stuff we have going on at ACC Media Days the next couple of days. To let you behind the curtain a little bit, ACC Media Day, the teams have their own little scheduled pockets when they're available to the media. And you may not think this is right, but they don't always schedule it around our show. So they're, one team's availability might be from 9:30 in the morning to 11 or whatever it is. So we'll be there recording interviews that we can then play on the show later in the day or the next day whenever it works out. But sometimes We'll go straight live on YouTube with it. At like 9:45 in the morning, we'll randomly say, oh, here's a quarterback from one of the teams you care about talking with you on the 99.9 The Fan YouTube channel. That might happen. No guarantees on who it'll be or when it'll be, but it might happen. So if you want to get a jump on some of the insight from ACC Media Days tomorrow and Thursday, subscribe to YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Search for it, subscribe, tell your friends.
And we'll be able to post these videos and stuff, even if they're not live. We'll post them throughout the day as well, so it's right there for you on demand.
You don't have to wait with the rest of the folk, the common folk. But if you want to, that's fine too. We'll still make sure we get to especially the exciting stuff as early as we can on the show. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's jump to the Dean's List. Dean's List, where we give a little extra hat tip, a little extra praise or accolades to those that deserve it, that are directly or indirectly related to the college sports world. I'll get it started with a not comprehensive list, but I do think it's a good little tease. How about NC State head coach Dave Doran, quarterback CJ Bailey? How about Duke head coach Manny Diaz, quarterback Darian Mensah? How about Wake Forest head coach Jake Dickert, Damon Claiborne, the fastest running back in the country, Wake Forest? Clemson, how about Cade Klubnik and TJ Parker? ESPN projects them as top 3 picks in the upcoming NFL draft after this season. How about ACC legend Eddie Royal? How about Boston College, at least honorable mention all ACC guys, Lewis Bond and Logan Taylor? These are all players and coaches that we are scheduled to talk with in the next 2 days. Just not a complete list, just a little smattering. Those that agree to talk with us, they deserve a little extra praise. They get to be on the Dean's List.
And still waiting to schedule even more.
Still waiting, and I didn't read everybody because it would take too long. But I just want to give you a little hint. Brian Parker from Duke, Chandler Rivers from Duke. I'm not going to keep going. They make the Dean's List. Do you know who else makes the Dean's List?
Who's that?
Gamblers.
Oh, okay. All right, go on.
If you gamble on college sports, specifically in like this region of the country, if you're an ACC fan and you gamble on college sports, you are on the Dean's List. Why? Jim Phillips, the commissioner, revealed today that the ACC will begin releasing public availability reports at least 48 hours before all conference games this football season. Basically, we're getting injury reports. And this will go for all the major sports, but for football, 48 hours before. 2 days before, you're going to know if that running back that you think is like worth a full touchdown, if he's going to play or not, or at least if he's questionable or probable or doubtful. So you're not gambling on like, if he plays, I think this number is wonky. If he doesn't, then I don't think they cover it all. Like, you get an availability report.
So I think it's 48 hours as well as 1 day in advance and 2 hours before kickoff.
There you go.
So I don't think they're going to list what the injury is, which I'm okay with, but it's just more or less just probable, questionable, out.
I just think from a gambling perspective, it is a real gut punch when you're like, all right, I've got, you're right, it's a game you don't usually care about, right? I'm like, obviously State, UNC or whatever, Duke, like we're going to know a lot more about those teams, but you're like Pitt, Syracuse, it's the night game and I don't have anything to watch, so I'm going to put a little bit of money on Syracuse. And then you're watching the game, you turn it on, and Syracuse starting quarterback and running back isn't playing, and you're just like, well, turn this off. That was fun while it lasted. It just gives you a little bit more information, which is crucial for gambling, and it's kind of, as weird as it is, it's kind of necessary if you're going to allow public gambling on things that you pass along that info. You also don't want to put players in a situation where if they let somebody know, like, my ankle's hurt, there's no way I'm going to play, that person goes and bets a bunch of money. Now, did they just get themselves in trouble? Even though they were just, limping into a fast food place? They're like, oh, you're hurt? Yeah, I'm not going to play this weekend. If that's not publicly available, they go bet a bunch of money. Now you're in a morally gray area. Put out the report, no longer morally gray. How funny would that be? You're picking up some takeout guys like, oh, you're limping. Are you going to play? And you're like, all I'm allowed to officially say is I'm questionable. Questionable. Thanks, buddy. Do you have someone you'd like to throw on the Dean's List? Dennis.
No, I mean, you listed all the guys that we're going to be talking with over the next couple of days.
Not all of them. Justin Joly, Darrell Jackson Jr. from Florida State. Joly, obviously, from State. There's a whole bunch of them. You know what makes the Dean's List? Jimbo Fisher's love of college football.
Oh, Jimbo.
Jimbo Fisher, former Florida State head coach, former Texas A&M head coach, is joining the ACC network. He's going to be in a studio role for the ACC network. That guy must love talking about football. Do you know why? Because when he was fired from Texas A&M, they gave him a $19 million upfront lump sum, and there's a schedule where they pay him $7.2 million per year through 2031. And I don't know how much the ACC network pays for a studio role. I don't pretend. I don't like to pocket watch the other people in my industry. But I guarantee you $7.2 million is more. And he's getting that per year through 2031 from Texas A&M. And he's still like, let's grind. Let's talk on air about it. Where's Eddie Royal? Where's Eric McLean? I want to chop it up about this Boston College game. That guy must love talking about football, because he could do whatever he wants for the rest of his life. Do you know what his total buyout was from A&M? We looked it up this morning.
A lot.
$77.5 million.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And he's going back to talking on the ACC network. Just loves football, that guy. There you go. Let's cut the Dean's List there. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan.
I'm not going to lie. Jimbo Fisher, I don't need him on my television.
Hey, national championship winning coach.
Hey, that's fine. I don't need him on my television.
Do you know what the irony is?
Took it over Bobby Bowden's team.
Ooh,
hey, no jokes there.
The irony is, E.J. Manuel, I believe, was a quarterback for Jimbo Fisher at Florida State. He's kind of transitioning from an ACC network role in studio to an ESPN studio role. So Jimbo Fisher is kind of replacing his quarterback from back in the day as he steps into an ACC network role. So it's just a little Florida State, all kinds of moving around. Do you think they even – here's the question, and we'll have to wait and see. Do you think they even, like, you know, the lower thirds, for those of you that don't know media terms, that's like when your name and a description of who you are comes across the bottom of the screen on TV. Do you think his lower third will even mention Texas A&M?
Probably not. If it's ACC network, probably not. It'll probably mention Florida State.
Florida State National Championship 2013, whatever it was, from this year to that year. Doesn't even mention Texas A&M, even though
it's not going to mention the loss to App State, nothing like that.
I don't think it would. I don't think it would. Unless it just says ridiculously rich because of Texas A&M. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Earlier today, we caught up with Gary Stokan. He is the CEO and president of Peach Bowl Incorporated. They're involved with the Aflac Kickoff. The Peach Bowl is actually hosting one of the college football playoff semifinals this year. So with the college football playoff being such a hot-button issue, we asked him about what he thinks the future of that particular event looks like, and much, much more. Gary Stokan joins us coming up next.
And we're back talking all things connectivity with Spectrum customers Kev and Melissa. So tell us, how long have you been with Spectrum, and how important is a reliable internet connection?
We've been Spectrum customers since we moved 12 years ago. The first thing we did is sign up for Spectrum Internet.
You get a lease, you get Wi-Fi.
Yes,
immediately.
We need that. We had Spectrum Wi-Fi before our couch got here.
That's true. That's a true story.
I'll sleep on the floor, but I won't go to bed with no internet.
You heard it here. Switch to Spectrum now.
It's the July to save. All month long at Wilkinson Chevrolet GMC in Sanford. What's even better than summer? Big July savings. Hurry in now. These deals are hot. Get up to $10,000 off MSRP on a new 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 or finance at 5.9%. Or get up to $10,000 off MSRP on a new 2025 GMC Sierra 2500 HD. In person at Wilkinson Chevrolet GMC in Sanford or online at wilkinsoncars.com. See dealer for details.
Here's Brandon with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Tired of waiting for a sleep treatment? At other sleep centers, it can take 6 to 8 months just to get an appointment and cost you thousands more. Not Parkway Sleep Health Centers. We schedule you within weeks and we'll save you money too. We have over 20 years of experience serving the Triangle. Let our expert team help you sleep better sooner.
End your sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Yeah, so give me my good friends, give me that dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Rock out with your favorite bands at Lost 80s Live at Coca Booth Amphitheater, August 3rd. Grab your tickets at etix.com today.
New to the area? Let me be the first to welcome you. I'm Marcy Bailey of Bailey's Fine Jewelry. We've been family-owned and part of North Carolina since 1948. We have a tradition of being voted the best jewelry store with an unparalleled selection of designer jewelry, fine diamonds, engagement rings, watches, and gifts to commemorate all your special occasions. We look forward to sharing our award-winning service and stunning jewels with you. Visit us today in store or at baileybox.com to see why every woman wants a Bailey box.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan is now joined on the Heister Automotive Group hotline by Gary Stokan, the CEO and president of the Peach Bowl and Peach Bowl Incorporated. Influenced so much of what's going on in college sports, so we're looking forward to this one. Gary, thank you very much for the time. I guess we'll start with the kickoff game, right? The Aflac kickoff game, which is coming up soon. How do you choose those teams, and how excited are you for matchups that include some super interesting teams?
Yeah, it's a great time of the year for us, and I appreciate you having us on.
Mm-hmm.
You just have a lot of conversations, and we have great relationships after being in this 28 years and being in sports for 47 years of just talking to coaches and ADs and find out what makes sense for them, who they want to play, who they don't want to play, what openings they have. So, we're blessed this year to have on Saturday, August 30th at noon on ABC, Tennessee and Syracuse. And then on the next day, the 31st, Virginia Tech and South Carolina to play at 3 o'clock on ESPN. So two great ACC, SEC matchups. And then at the end of the season, the Chick-Fil-A Peach Bowl will host the semifinal of the CFP.
And that's obviously the next part of this all, right? So often the Aflac kickoff game is kind of the first domino to fall in everyone's pursuit of the CFP. And you're at ACC Media Days. We'll be there tomorrow and the next day. One of the big conversations is what's the proper format for the CFP, and is expansion on the horizon. From where you're sitting as someone that's obviously invested, what is the proper format for a CFP?
Well, I think, anytime you do something the first time, first iteration of something, you probably need to look to what you can do better. I thought the 12-team playoff worked great this year. Obviously, we're a quarterfinal, had a great, Texas-Arizona State double overtime game. But I know the CFP management committee and commissioners and the presidents are talking about where they go 26 in the new contract through 31. Obviously, they have to make a decision by December 1st for ESPN's purposes, because ESPN then has to go out and get the title sponsors signed up to make their money back on what they paid to the CFP in a rights fee. And then in parallel to that, the CFP will sit with the bowl games and negotiate contracts with us. And hopefully we've done enough to maintain our position, to be a CFP bowl game and host semifinals and quarterfinals over the next 6-year term of 26 through 31. Whether they stay at 12 or go to 14 or 16 remains to be seen. But hopefully we've done enough to maintain our role as a good partner with the CFP.
Gary Stokan, CEO and president of Peach Bowl Incorporated, joining us here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly. Garrett, do you have a role in that, or is your input heard as one of the business partners of the CFP on what kind of things and what teams or matchups you'd be hoping for if you are kept in that mix? Like you said, I would expect you would, but just to cover my bases there.
Yeah, the decision's primarily laid on the commissioners and the management team of the presidents of the CFP. So they make the decision, and the CFP offices will negotiate with us. But, it's in the commissioner's hands right now as to what the format will be, whether they stay at 12 or move to 14 or go to 16 teams.
I don't know if you've gotten this far. Obviously, the season is kind of right on our doorstep, but there's a lawsuit right now, and from our neck of the woods, actually, a North Carolina Tar Heel women's tennis player, towards the NCAA about prize money, where she's hoping to be able to keep some of the prize money that she may earn if she qualifies for a U.S. Open or other situations like that, something that's against the NCAA rules right now. And one of the can of worms that's discussed around it is if she wins or if that lawsuit wins and you can get the prize money, there could then become things like, prize money to winners of bowl games or prize money to winners of in-season tournaments on the basketball side of things. As a bowl, obviously official, would you be willing to give prize money to winners of the bowl if that became something that was within NCAA rules?
I don't think that's part of the CFP right now. They'd have to go a long way to making that happen. But that's something that's way above my pay grade with the CFP and how that all works out. Because we don't really pay the teams. The CFP pays the teams. Used to be in the old bowl format, we would pay the teams, but right now it's the CFP that does that.
Gary Stokan, CEO and president of Peach Bowl Incorporated, connecting with us here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Gary, how important, and to go back to the AFLAC kickoff games, how important are these non-conference games as far as maybe helping establish the best teams in the league when it comes to a selection committee? You brought it up, both matchups this year, ACC versus SEC. They seem so much more important now because records from interconference play end up kind of deciding which team gets the benefit of the doubt in those moments. When you are making your matchups and connecting with the SEC, is that something that appeals to you a little bit more?
So that's a great point. I look back to 2017 when we had what we call the GOAT game, the greatest opener all time, with number 1 Alabama and number 3 Florida State. Alabama went on to win the game, and then Alabama did not win the SEC that year, but the selection committee used our game as a major data point in putting Alabama at number 4, and Alabama went on to win the national championship. So these non-conference games are huge data points for the CFP because you don't schedule your conference format. The conference does that for you, but you control as a school your non-conference games. And if you're going out and playing difficult games and winning those games, that's going to give you a key differentiation point especially now when you get down to selecting 12 teams to play in the playoff. So these non-conference games are huge in the process of CFP selection.
Well, Gary, we are looking forward to the AFLAC kickoff game, but we're really looking forward to that CFP semifinal in the Peach Bowl. We just don't know who's going to be playing in it yet. We thank you for the time. Go ahead.
We've hosted some. I know CBS came out with ratings of all the CFP games since 2014, and our Alabama-Georgia national championship was in the top 5 in 2017. Our Texas-Arizona State game in the Chick-Fil-A Peach Bowl this past year was in the top 5, and then our semifinal with Georgia-Ohio State in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl in 23 was in the top 5. So we've hosted some great games in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and hopefully this year in the CFP semifinal we'll get another one.
I know that as an official you have to keep it completely objective, no favorites, but just because you brought it up, right? When that Arizona State-Texas game was so incredible, do you have like a Cam Scatterbo Giants jersey just for helping make it entertaining? I know they weren't able to win, but the ratings when he put together the game that he did to make it competitive had to be, putting a smile on your face.
Well, you're right. I mean, to see, and I think it ultimately helped his draft selection process. But we're now rated second only to the Rose Bowl over the last 6 years in CFP viewership and CFP attendance. So, the old Peach Bowl's come a long way in now being only second to the Rose Bowl in those viewership and attendance. So, we hope to have another great year with our sell out with our CFP semifinal game this year again.
Gary, thank you very much for the time. Enjoy ACC Media Days, and we'll catch up later this week.
Yeah, great to be with you, Tim. Thanks so much for having us, and come visit us in Atlanta.
Once again, that is Gary Stokan, CEO and president of Peach Bowl Incorporated. Those matchups in the Aflac kickoff: Syracuse, Tennessee, Virginia Tech, South Carolina. Those are the two. If we're going to be ACC, we need some big performances from Syracuse and Virginia Tech. There. We need some punching above your weight class performances there from Syracuse and Virginia Tech.
A lot of orange and a lot of birds.
True. And Shane Beamer against his dad's old squad. There's some, maybe we can tweak some stuff, get him into his emotions a little bit, but I think the ACC is going to be kind of significantly underdogs there. But since we have a minute here, I do want to make sure whatever we do with the college football playoff, whatever we do with football, encourages more gigantic non-conference games as often as possible. That is from a fan's perspective, just important, right? And I kind of like what he said about Florida State and Alabama playing each other when they were number 1 and number 3 in a kickoff game. He called it the GOAT, the greatest opener of all time, because that kind of gives you, like, even if you lose, it really doesn't hurt you, if that makes any sense. You're just right where you were. Like if Florida State lost that game, right, or whoever, right? If you're playing 2 top 10 teams against each other at the beginning of the year, whoever loses, if you replace that game with a dominant win over Eastern Michigan, you're in the exact same place. If you lose to Alabama, you dominate Eastern Michigan, you still have to go pretty much run through your conference schedule to make it, to one of the top 5 teams at the end of the year. Meanwhile, if you win, like Alabama did in that game, even if you don't run through your conference schedule, if you don't win your conference championship, you still have this little ace in the hole when it comes to your resume that might get you over the hump and make the committee a fan of you anyway. So basically what I'm saying is, early in the season, if you schedule an absolute blockbuster against one of the best teams in the country, I don't think it hurts you as much as you think. Because, you go schedule an easy win, that doesn't make it so it's like, oh, now we can lose twice in conference. It's like the easy wins don't help you a ton either. I guess the best way to do it would be to find like a middle-of-the-road power conference team that's easier to beat, but also you're very, very likely to beat. But it's difficult to thread that needle every year, especially with the transfer portal. You don't know who's going to be good or bad in the middle of the pack. You kind of know who's going to be the top and bottom, but the middle is very hard to predict.
We need the ACC to win one of those 2 openers, right? That would help a bunch. I doubt Syracuse is going to take it to Tennessee, but maybe Virginia Tech pulls the upset against South Carolina. Maybe. I don't know.
I would say they're both going to be heavy dogs.
Oh, very much so.
But it would go a long way, because those are the dumb arguments that happen at the end of the year, right? You need Tennessee to lose to Syracuse and then beat most of the SEC. So then at the end we can go, you couldn't even beat Syracuse, even if Syracuse is really good. We just need we need that as a trump card for when they start saying how much better the SEC is than the ACC or any other conference, right? You need to have a few wins in your pocket that you can point to against good teams, right? Beating, no offense, Vanderbilt or Kentucky, it's not going to carry the same weight as beating a Tennessee that thinks they're going to be in the CFP.
It's wow, cool, you beat Mississippi State.
But for some reason, we don't get to do that in reverse. For some reason, if South Carolina beats Virginia Tech, they're going to wave that in our face, and we don't get to go, whoa, Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I know.
We don't get to do that. It doesn't make any sense. ACC and SEC, not playing on the same board, are we? The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll try to even it up. We will, I promise you. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The Panthers, the veterans, the rookies, they're reporting for training camp. First practice is tomorrow, but we have audio from Dan Morgan, Robert Hunt, and newly signed second-round pick Nick Scorton coming your way next.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharkies. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime, and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Oh, it's perfect, all right.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
Struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Midday Tuesday in the mid-80s, highs today in the upper 80s, a big difference from the past few days here. Humidity levels dip a little bit today. Overnight we're in the mid to upper 60s, slightly less humid heading into Wednesday with highs in the upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones this afternoon up 202 points to 44,525. Market update brought to you by Bolton Construction Services. Bolton is actively hiring experienced HVAC techs with a $2,500 sign-on bonus. As a family-owned leader in HVAC, Bolton puts people first. Don't miss out. Apply now at boltonservice.com.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for football at 4. You can set your watch by it. You know what feels a little weird? It's the first time in 2 weeks we're not either registering a finalist or giving away win your weight in meat.
I know.
4 o'clock. It's
kind of odd.
I know. We'll find something else to give away someday. Right now, though, we need all the time we can have for football at 4. Panthers, Carolina Panthers. Training camp practice starts tomorrow. Across the league, I'm almost jealous. You're seeing players in helmets walking out to practice. Saw CeeDee Lamb high-fiving a mascot jogging out to practice. I'm like, oh, come on, Panthers, get out there. But I guess, anticipation will grow, and tomorrow they'll be joining the rest of them. With an update on who may or may not be joining the rest of the Panthers week 1. Dan Morgan, the GM, spoke to the media today, and he gave us the latest updates regarding tight end Tommy Tremble.
I think that's still to be determined. I think he's trending in a really good direction, but I'm not going to put a timeline on it.
That was about his availability week 1. Anybody else look around and go, that doesn't make me confident. Trending in the right direction, and to be determined. A lot of vague there. So basically,
he did say earlier that he was ahead of schedule. Tommy Tremble was. That's a good sign, I guess.
Yeah, it's better than being behind schedule.
That's true.
We don't know when the schedule was.
But also, good point.
He wasn't scheduled to be back till week 6, but he's ahead of schedule. We don't. That, by the way, not reporting. That's a joke. My point is, do you know what I would take away from that? Hey, Jatavian Sanders and Mitchell Evans, be ready.
Yeah.
This is no longer you're gonna go through the first 2 weeks of practice and run all the routes and be hot out there in the sticky humidity, and then Tommy Tremble's obviously going to be back and take the reps week one. It might be your show to start off the season, so get ready. And I'm not downplaying the importance of that at all. Another interesting part going into training camp. This feels very almost college. We're going to have a lot of position battle conversations going on tomorrow at ACC Media Day and Thursday at ACC Media Day. The Panthers kind of have an old school position battle going on towards the end of the wide receiver depth chart, right? The guys at the front are obviously the guys at the front. Teteroa McMillan's not going to get cut. But you look towards the end, there's the David Moore, there's the Hunter Renfrow, somebody like Jalen Coker's probably safe, but from an investment standpoint, there's not much there. Where do things stand with the wide receiver competition? Here's Dan Morgan.
I'm excited not just about the receiving core, but other areas as well. It's going to be a really good competition, and that's what we want on this roster. We want to create competition. I think that just brings out the best in everybody. So, yeah, I'm just excited to watch it and see how it unfolds.
You want to see somebody work hard, have the Grim Reaper walk around and say, if you're not working hard, you might get cut. Grim Reaper being a term for the staffer that goes around, knocks on doors and say, hey, coach wants to see you bring your playbook, which means you're cut. If you've ever watched Hard Knocks, you know exactly what's happening there. But, coaches, they talk the talk, right? Competition, iron sharpens iron. You want to be cutting good players because that means you're keeping better players. And maybe for the first time in a long time, the wide receiver room has that problem, right? It's much better to have 7 guys that you trust for 6 roster spots than it is to have 5 guys you trust for 6 roster spots. So we'll see who makes it out. Literally, training camp could be the deciding factor. Dan Morgan, we'll jump to the one about the number of moves. He was asked if there's going to be a large number of moves during training camp. Sometimes there's value. Sometimes other guys are cut elsewhere. Sometimes you just want to keep your roster. So what does Dan Morgan see happening during training camp as far as roster moves? Here he is.
We had to make a lot of moves. Our depth wasn't very good last year, at this time last year. But that doesn't mean this year that – hey, we're stacked, we're ready to roll. Like, we're still going to be aggressive. And aggressiveness doesn't always mean action either. Like, we're going to be aggressive behind the scenes. And I think, some of the things we do behind the scenes maybe that you guys don't even know, like, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to look for any avenue to get better. But just because we don't do it doesn't mean we're not being aggressive.
Underrated part about last year's training camp, because the Panthers earned the number 1 pick, even though they didn't get to make the number 1 pick, they had first claim for the entirety of preseason on waivers. They were the team at the front of the line. This year they won't be. So you may see some claims processed that they put in and they just don't get the player. Where last year, if they wanted them, they got them once they hit waivers. So a little bit different there. Again, even if they want to be super aggressive and claim guys, sometimes it's out of your hands, right? They were in line and just somebody in front of them in line took it.
Yeah, last year they made 6 claims after the first cutdown day, made 6. So you never know. I mean, it would not be surprising, depending on how some of these injuries work out, that if we don't see a move or two during this training camp to go get another tight end.
To me, that's it's not like shuffling the end of the roster. That's going out and signing somebody. Maybe like if it's a Noah Fant, or if you're going, Justin Simmons at safety. Like those players are not necessarily even cheap. Like you got to work out, you got to negotiate because they may have other suitors. But you're right. Those moves, I don't think there'll be a lot of those moves, but I could see 1 or 2 of them, and they end up being darn near starters week 1, which is different than what they did last year, which was a lot of building depth. Robert Hunt also spoke to the media. Robert Hunt being starting guard, one of the leaders, one of the highest paid players on the offense. He was asked what would surprising teams look like as far as if the Panthers can sneak up on some people. Here's Robert Hunt. Excuse me.
Competing and winning games, man. Well, I think we all know what that means. You know what I mean? Because surprising people meaning, I think, personally, man, I like what I see. You know what I mean? And obviously we got to play some football here these next couple of weeks, and we'll see how that feel and look. And then we'll play other teams. We'll see how that feel and look. But I think we built the right way, man. I think we're physical. I think we're big. I think we're nasty. We got new skills. We got skills on defense. I think, new D-line. I don't know. For me personally, I'm not setting an expectation or anything like that. I'm just saying for me personally, I think I like because I'm a guy that's always back against the wall. Like, I was a 2-star athlete, went to a school, graduated with 18 kids. I like to surprise people because when I walk in the room, they don't know. Like, oh, he went to this, Then I walk up and I show up and they're like, oh, you know what I mean? So that's what I love doing that. So hopefully, and I mean that, I get chill speaking on it, hopefully that we can do that, man, because I really feel, I like what I feel.
All right, everybody, this was not planned in the middle of a Panthers segment, but we have some Panthers breaking news. Here from Panthers.com, so straight from the horse's mouth, the Panthers released linebacker Josie Jewell today.
Whoa, really?
After the veteran continues to experience concussion symptoms.
Oh, man, that sucks.
According to a team spokesperson, the 30-year-old Jewell wanted to prioritize his health and recovery and be considerate of his teammates, and the move allows the Panthers to move forward with a group of players who are able to get all the practice reps when camp opens tomorrow. If all goes well with his recovery, he could return to the team at some point in the future.
Yeah, they just posted that literally just a couple of minutes ago.
Yep.
So Josie Jewell was a starter, signed a 3-year contract last offseason to come in with the Carolina Panthers, previously with the Denver Broncos, played with Ejiro Evero. So kind of someone that knows the system, but I think, remember correctly, he did miss some time last year with a concussion as well.
Played 12 games last year. And
he had a couple of different injuries, but I know concussion was one of them. So
he missed the last 2 games of the season because of a concussion suffered in Week 16 against the Cardinals.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, so this is going to put a ton of pressure on Evero to figure out how he's going to work around, because my guess is Josie Jewell, like he was last year, was going to be the one that was going to be calling all the defensive plays, the guy that wears the green dot on his helmet that communicates from the defensive coordinator to everyone else. I mean, that's a big-time loss for a defense last year, or this year, for a team that needs all of its pieces. That's massive.
So here's the way it looks like it'll break down. Christian Roseboom is somebody that they signed the first day of free agency, former Rams starter at linebacker. It was likely going to at least start with Roseboom and I believe Jewell getting the first look at those inside linebacker positions, or off-ball linebacker positions.
Jewell and Trevin Wallace.
And then Trevin Wallace, I believe, now moves – probably would have been backing up Jewell, I would guess. I was Roseboom and Jewell. Now, obviously, you lose a lot of your depth because – those 3 to me were the most comfortable ones you had out there. Trevin Wallace being a higher drafted guy and physically a little bit of speed. The other 2 being veterans. They get it. They can make calls, as you mentioned. So you go from having 3 guys for 2 slots at a very physical position that you might be comfortable with, and maybe even some kind of a down and distance role where maybe Wallace gets in there on more pass coverage downs and the other guys can be the more run stuffers. To now you're looking at Roseboom and Wallace, and I think you're saying you're playing darn near every snap, and you got to be durable. You got to stay healthy. If you look at the rest of the depth chart, Claudin Charlist, Jacoby Windman are guys that are out there.
John Radigan last year was a guy that they claimed.
Mostly a special teamer, but
he was
obviously on the depth chart there.
Yeah, Radigan was a special teamer, but he was one of the guys that they claimed as one of their roster cut-down days last year, a guy that they claimed off waivers, who's, again, rookie last year, but a core 4 special teamer. I mean, Roseboom was only signed to a 1-year contract this offseason. Wasn't a very expensive signing. So, I mean, Trevin Wallace, second-year guy, 3rd-round draft pick in 2024 out of Kentucky. Guess what, man? You might be the number 1 linebacker for this team now going forward. He got a ton of snaps last year when Shaq Thompson went down. So that's certainly valuable as well. But if you're Ejiro Evero, you might be scrambling a little bit here. Say they with Dan Morgan. It's like, okay, what move do we make now?
All right. You're absolutely right there. Now I think you're paying a lot more attention to the linebacker market and who else is out there and everything else. In the interest of not being full doom and gloom on the first bit of news we've gotten at training camp.
For real.
They haven't even started practicing yet, and they lost a starter to an injury. In the interest of not being full doom and gloom, I do think the Carolina Panthers have set up whoever their off-ball backers are, their inside linebackers are, to have a easier job than a lot of other teams have by way of putting them behind Derek Brown and Bobby Brown and Turk Wharton and Shai Tuttle and Ashawn Robinson, right? Those guys are, for the most part, gigantic, strong humans that can eat up blocks, can anchor in quite well, and allow the linebackers to have kind of free roam, right? If you're a defensive tackle, especially nose tackle, defensive tackle, and you're getting double teamed and holding your own, that makes your linebacker's job significantly easier. I'm not saying easy, significantly easier. So there is a world where they can improve on defense significantly without having, two all pros or anything close to it off ball. But yes, I completely agree with you that Trevin Wallace and Christian Roseboom both just got, hey man, that role we were expecting you to have just got a lot bigger, a lot more pressure on your shoulders. So get ready, right? Because Josie Jewell, and for those of you just tuning in, the breaking news being Josie Jewell, a projected starter, was on a multi-year deal, just 30 years old for the Carolina Panthers, an inside linebacker, being released today as he continues to experience concussion symptoms. And he suffered that concussion in week 16 of last year, at least the most recent one we know about.
I mean, I saw him at training camp or during mini camp and stuff. So, I mean, he was there, referring to Josie Jewell, but that's a reality check for a lot of guys. It's like, man, 30 years old, I'm dealing with all the stuff that, like, lingering effects of concussions. I mean, you only get one brain.
And it's one thing to continue to do mini camps and OTAs where contact is non-existent, and then you get on the doorstep of putting the helmet on and the pads on, and you have a different feeling about how excited you are based on health. And again, just to give the full story, on the Panthers.com article, it does say if all goes well with his recovery, he could return to the team at some point in the future. So this doesn't seem like a burning bridges relationship. They're understanding both sides, kind of where they're coming from, and now the team can use his roster spot or give his reps to guys that might be more likely to be available.
And you feel for a guy in that spot. Like, you really do.
I hate when injuries impact the end, if this is the end for somebody like Josie Jewell. Absolutely brutal. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the Ladder Challenge, Copper Drop, and more coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Move your sports day forward.
Baseball showed it can be fun. A throwback to being a kid with a backyard sudden death home run competition, breaking the tie and ending the All-Star game. No pitch clocks, no bigger bases, just dudes swinging hard for the fences. All it needed was my mom to yell out, "Hey, you got school in the morning. Get home now."
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
At Wells Fargo, we know what got you into your business. Whether it's manufacturing, running a restaurant, or your business from home. What you didn't get into your business for was banking. But luckily, Wells Fargo offers business checking, payments, and lending all in one place, in your neighborhood and on our app. So you can focus on doing what you love. Wells Fargo, you're good at business, we're good at business banking. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/business. Terms apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
What sounds like a fun weekend?
Hey, let's hit the beach.
What does not sound like a fun weekend?
I know it's hot out, but we need to restain the deck. Put on your long sleeves and mosquito spray. I'm going to grab all the stuff.
Preserve your weekend, your home, and investment, and call Preserve Services instead. Our Preserve team excels in interior and exterior painting and home repairs. We're your one-stop shop in the Triangle for jobs you need done, but don't want to tackle. And get this, you don't pay a penny until the job's done. Schedule today at PreserveServices.com.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Aloha.
Dreaming of sandy beaches and ocean breezes? JTV's Tropical Treasure Sweepstakes could make that dream come true. Enter for your chance to win a fabulous Hawaiian getaway for two with luxury accommodations, airfare, and spending cash. Plus, just for entering, get $30 off your next qualifying JTV purchase of at least $99 when you opt in for emails. Don't miss out. Visit jtv.com/sweeps and enter by August 3rd. JTV, where paradise awaits.
Fill your tank. Don't drain your wallet. Sam's Club lets you save time at the pump with Scan and Go checkout at Sam's Club fuel stations. Just scan the QR code on the pump and pay. Visit your local Sam's Club today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is not a completely random song selection coming out of break. Little Black Sabbath, because Ozzy Osbourne passed away earlier today. That news breaking kind of over the last hour or so. Can't argue with the talent. Impact on rock and roll. We don't have enough time to talk the entire story of Ozzy Osbourne, but obviously thinking of his family, his friends, his community, his fans, and everybody as they mourn the loss of Ozzy Osbourne, who I don't even know what number I was expecting, but 76 years old for Ozzy. That's a packed a lot of life into those 76 years.
Lived a life, to say the least.
Born in 1948 in Marston Green, Warwickshire, England. So again, passing along thoughts to the friends and family of Ozzy Osbourne. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, as we transition here to the ladder challenge. Dennis, my ladder challenge yesterday was not my best moment. Do you know why?
Why?
Because the game I picked is tonight.
So that puts you at zero?
I'm still at I didn't lose the $10 from yesterday.
But you didn't place a bet though. That's the thing. You're supposed to.
I am. I still placed the bet. It just hasn't taken place yet. So I'm rolling it. I'm rolling with it. I have no choice. The bet had been placed.
And your bet was again
Nafisa Collier, 25 or more points for the Minnesota Lynx versus the Chicago Sky. When I locked it in yesterday morning, it was plus 155. The issue was there were no WNBA games last night. So when you click to the WNBA tab, it brought up today's games that they were the first ones listed. So that was my issue. I explained it all yesterday. I'm on Nafisa Collier, 25 or more points versus the Chicago Sky. I'm taking my $10, hopefully turning it into $25.50.
Okay, I had Aaron Judge to hit a home run yesterday. He didn't.
Sorry, we're in the same spot.
So,
no harm, no foul.
Yep, pretty much just rolling through with it once again.
Not my best moment.
No.
Hand up, that's on me.
No one's best moment. But I'm going to go back to the old well once again. Give me Shohei Ohtani to hit a home run plus 170. So my $10 will turn into $27.
One of these days, you're gonna get one of these.
Hey, Cal Raleigh did it for me.
Well, maybe you should go back to picking the guy that hits the most home runs.
Well, I did that with Aaron Judge yesterday.
Second most. Cal Raleigh's leading the league.
Yeah, well, Ohtani's up there too.
That's true, too. They're both. All three of them are. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they're not number one this year. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll check in on Ladder Challenge, see who's winning tomorrow. Hopefully, my bet takes place tonight. Watch, the Lynx Sky game is going to be postponed for some reason. I'm just going to bet on this game every year every night for the rest of the year.
That would actually be kind of wild if that actually was the case.
If it does, I feel like that's a winning bet. I don't know why, but it's just the chances of saying that out loud and having it happen, that's I should buy a lotto ticket. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, that's the ladder challenge. Before we get to Copper Drop, text keyword soccer, SOCCER, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to any NC Courage home game at First Horizon Stadium at Wake Med Soccer Park. If you want a 4-pack, that's you and 3 of your friends, 3 of your family members, 3 of whoever you want to bring. Text keyword soccer to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to any NC Courage home game. Again, they take place at First Horizon Stadium at Wake Med Soccer Park. Text it in now. Also now, Copper Drop.
You want true enlightenment? Well, I'm dropping.
Dennis, what are we copying and or dropping here today?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this one regarding the Carolina Panthers. Okay? So the Carolina Panthers, as was just announced literally not even 15 minutes ago, the Carolina Panthers have released linebacker Josie Jewell because he is dealing with concussion symptoms still. So they went ahead and released him. Potentially could come back at some point. But in lieu of the Carolina Panthers having a surplus at wide receiver, Copper Drop, the Carolina Panthers will trade one of their wide receivers to get depth at linebacker, Copper Drop. In the form of maybe a David Moore, Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, I here's the hard part. I think if they could, they would. The issue is if I am somebody out there that needs wide receiver help and I'm looking at Renfrow or I'm looking at David Moore as potential options, I can also count the Carolina Panthers roster and go, oh, I'll just wait for you to cut one of them. I don't need to give you anything unless it's a I used to call them problems for problems, and unless somebody else has one more linebacker that they trust, then they have roster spots and they're going to cut them, and you just kind of want to both jump the line of waivers, or actually I'm not even David Moore and I'm not sure if they're eligible for waivers because they're such veterans. I don't know the rules on that, but maybe you don't want to test the open market, so you just say like, hey, I'll trade you this guy, you give me that guy. I just think that's a very specific situation. I think there's a difference between this player's so good I don't want to cut them and this player's so good that somebody else is going to be willing to trade for them. I think there's a gap there. So I don't think they're able to pull it off, although if they could, they would. So I'm dropping it. But also, if they can, what do they say? A sucker's born every day, something like that. If they can find somebody out there willing to give up a stud linebacker or at least a playable linebacker for David Moore, I think Dan Morgan's going to go, Dave Canales, I know you like Moore. I know that's your buddy. You guys have been together a bunch of places. Do you want to be the one, or do you want me to tell him to pack his stuff up? Because, we're getting a linebacker, and we need that now that Josie Jewell is not on the squad.
I could see it happening. If there's a team out there that has, all right, we kind of like these 2 guys for that 4th linebacker spot, as opposed to getting rid of one, it's like, well, we do need to add a wide receiver because we need someone that could be a good number 4 or 5 for us. Then you can make that 1-for-1 swap. I can 100% see that happen. Again, we're talking depth players. We're not talking trading a starter for a starter.
Or if somebody has maybe a player that they think is making a little too much money and they need to avoid that scenario, they're just looking like, hey, give us something back and we'll give you this player as long as you take the contract. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't see David Moore bringing much attention on the open market. And the receivers that will bring something back on the open market are the ones I don't want you to get. Like, I think you could legit get something for Jalen Coker. I do not want you to trade Jalen Coker.
No, I don't. Want that.
So I don't think they make the move.
Yeah, but Renfrow, I like Renfrow. I think David Moore. They're both on 1-year deals, I think. So
yeah, I think you just wait. Yeah, I think somebody's gonna have to get cut.
Yeah,
and I think everybody else can do that same math.
All right, let's switch focus over to the Carolina Hurricanes. Cop or drop? We'll see Seth Jarvis line up at center at some point this season. Cop or drop?
We're gonna do this is really the last day for the fun kind of like at a bar with your buddies style debates of the Canes, because starting tomorrow, kickoff for ACC Media Days, training camp, we're kind of full into football season. So we'll do the whole line debate. Is it like for any game? Like just for
At some point, at any game this season, we look at the lineup of the roster, and you see Seth Jarvis at center.
I'll drop it. I'll drop it. I think Stankoven will get the look first. Jarvis has been around, and he really hasn't gotten that much opportunity there. And I also, part of this is me saying I want the top line to be Aho, Jarvis, and Ehlers. And if Jarvis is getting center minutes, then that means he's not on the top line with Aho and Ehlers. So, part of this is just me selfishly wanting the parts that I'm most excited about this season to just go swimmingly. I want that line to be cranking out points at such a high level that it's never even considered to be broken up. I think Stankoven has a chance. He's a little bit sturdier. I don't know, just a little stockier. I think he's got a chance to maybe get that look. And you only have to do it for the first month or two, because then the Canes are going to trade for a stud second-line center that is going to be on the team for the next 10 years. That's how it's going to play out.
Okay. Well,
no guess. That's what it's going to be.
Well, that leads into my next one, cop or drop. The Carolina Hurricanes will trade for a center before the calendar year 2026. So they'll make it in either October, November, or December if they do trade for a center. Cop or drop?
The issue is that early enough for a team out there that thought they were going to contend to fully come to grips with, we need to sell for parts. Because I do think that's the best path for the Canes to solving, quote unquote, their 2C problem. Is they still have cap space, they still have picks and prospects, but right now nobody is selling centers. So, and there really wasn't a ton of options for second line center on the free agency market either. And by a ton of, I mean darn near any.
There was none.
Yeah. So
there was none.
So I'm looking at it and saying there's got to be a team or two or three that held on to a center because they're like, no, this is a year, we're all in, we're going to go contend, we need that guy. And at some point in the season, they're going to go, wow, we missed that, huh? Maybe it's injuries, maybe it's just, underwhelming play. All right, maybe we should sell that player and kind of reset. And that's where the Canes are like, you said sell a center? How would you feel about these prospects and picks? Or Kokaniemi? So I'll drop it. Just because I think you need to give the teams, they're going to play out the string as close to the deadline as they can to see if they can get back into contention before they fully, pull the eject button on their season. So I'm selling, but I hope it happens, putting that energy into the universe.
Okay, so you're dropping that they'll make the move before the calendar year 2026.
Correct.
Cop or drop, they do trade for a center at some point before the deadline.
Copping. And I don't know what that deal looks like. I'd have to see the standings at that point to know with which team. Would you like to know my fever dream, my fantasy, when I'm blowing out the candles on my birthday cake, if I'm making a Canes wish?
What's that?
Buffalo stinks. I want Buffalo to start with 16 straight losses. And then, Dennis, it's a name that you've kind of sold me on.
Yeah.
Get a little double T action up there?
Tage Thompson.
Little double T?
Well, gosh, if they lose 16 straight to start the year, we might have them by November. Might have them by Thanksgiving at that point.
Well, okay. All right. Maybe they lose 16 straight, but it takes them a while to get that bad. I think Buffalo, because of the postseason drought that they've been on, are so reluctant to start over that they're like, no, well, let's give it one more chance. And if that one more chance becomes obvious, I think they could be sellers, and I think that's where Eric Tulsky, that's where the meme of him on the laptop at the game, he's just sending emails like, so, saw the results from your game yesterday. Can I interest you in a Bradley Nadeau? You go from there. Obviously it's very difficult to predict trades exactly ahead of time, but that's just, one of my fantasy dreams, so I'm going to put that energy out there.
Okay. A lot of talk around the ACC football.
Mm-hmm.
Cop or drop, the ACC will have 3 teams make the college football playoff this year. Cop or drop?
Cop. Yeah, cop. And Don't you like when you answer it and then you go like, wait, I should think about this first?
It doesn't.
Cop it. I'm looking at this. First of all, I think it's important to know who everybody's chasing, right? I don't think it's a problem to look around and go, we have to keep building, we have to keep adding because this team is out in front. Clemson, to me, looks like a wagon. I'm not hyping them up. If you look at it, let me give you some stats. Okay, right here. USA Today's all-conference team. 9 Clemson players. First team, offense or defense. Quarterback, Cade Klubnik. Wide receiver, Antonio Williams, who is Todd McShay of the Ringers, #1 wide receiver going into the draft next year.
Okay.
Wide receiver, Bryant Wesco Jr. is all-conference, according to USA Today preseason. They have offensive lineman Blake Miller, defensive lineman TJ Parker, who ESPN has the 3rd overall pick in their upcoming or in their mock draft for next year. D lineman Peter Woods, he stinks. They have him as his 6th overall pick in the mock draft for next year. Linebacker Wade Woodaz, linebacker Sammy Brown, defensive back. Like, they've got dudes. So Clemson, I think they're probably as good a pick as anyone in the country to make the college football playoff. And I think there's 4 or 5 other teams that, if they catch a hot streak at the right time, if they win, you need a little bit of luck in those one-score games, but if the ball bounces their way, I think they could make it in. And I think there's some chaos in some of the other conferences. So, yeah, 3 to me is necessary. 4 would be lovely. 2 we'll settle for. 1 would be a huge issue.
All right, final one here. Cop or drop? You mentioned the USA Today rankings in terms of the ACC. Cop or drop? A school from the state of North Carolina will compete in the ACC championship game. Cop or drop?
Yay!
So we're talking Duke, State, Carolina, Wake. One of those 4.
I'm dropping.
Okay.
I'm dropping. By the way, the USA preseason, their predictions for the ACC finish has Duke 6th, State 10th, North Carolina 12th out of the 17-team ACC. I think there's chances, right? I'm not saying it's impossible. I think if Darian Mensah lives up to the hype, Duke has a real interesting puncher's chance at making it. But, if you give me Duke, State, I think Clemson, by the way, like I said, you're chasing them. I think they're very likely to be in the ACC championship game. If you gave me like Duke, State, Carolina, or Miami, SMU, Louisville, Georgia Tech, even a team like Florida State, I know that they were awful last year, but they recruited such a high level, you can't exactly count them out. Like, if you give me all of those or the teams from North Carolina, I think you got to take all of those just on a more likely than not scenario. Wake Forest, by the way, 15th in that ranking, so they're even further down. It's not a knock on any individual team. It's just there's a lot more teams that aren't from the state of North Carolina than teams that are from the state of North Carolina. And I do think Clemson has taken up 50% of the championship, which makes it difficult. You're all fighting for one spot.
If there's a school you had to pick from North Carolina that can make the ACC championship game, which school has the best chance?
I think Duke.
You think Duke does?
I think Duke. I think to make an ACC championship game, you just need some, dudes, like Chandler Rivers, Brian Parker, Terry Moore, the safety. I think their secondary can be one that's really difficult to throw on. A large part of it, and matter of fact, all 3 in the state in the triangle, actually all 4, I'll include Wake Forest. So much of their season depends on quarterback play. Darian Mensah jumping from Tulane to Duke. Does the efficiency translate? State, CJ Bailey. First year, no pressure, right? You were a true freshman thrown to the wolves when the starter got hurt, and you overexceeded expectations. Now this year, expectations are a lot higher. People are expecting something from you. North Carolina, if it is Gio Lopez coming from South Alabama, how does that translate? Can he even be a little bit better of a passer? Very good with his legs already. And then Wake Forest, is it Robbie Ashford? Is it Deshaun Purdy, transfer from Charlotte? Who ends up being that quarterback, and can they keep defenses honest enough to use the speed of Damon Claiborne out of the backfield? So I guess I'm just the most optimistic for CJ Bailey and Darian Mensah. And I think that's why those 2 teams would be my top. I do think it's interesting, and maybe this has something to do with just fan thinking. Not that long ago, Dennis, you were out. We looked at the over-unders from sports books for the three teams in the triangle.
Sure.
And North Carolina had the highest. They were 7.5.
Really?
Duke and State were 6.5. Yet
feels low for Duke.
I said that as well. I said they're going to go 9, 8, 9 wins back-to-back years. And now you're good 6.5? I said the same thing. But it was interesting that I was like, Carolina, that must just be their, I don't know, it's the Belichick thing, right? But now looking at USA Today preseason, they have Carolina below both of them kind of significantly. So varying reports on the Tar Heels.
I will say NC State doesn't have to face Clemson this year. Now, they got to play Florida State, but you don't know what Florida State's going to be. But you have Florida State at home at least. You have Carolina at home if you're NC State. You travel to Miami, which is a tough one. But then you have Georgia Tech at home. You have Virginia Tech at home. You got to go to Duke, which is not going to be easy. You got to go to Pitt. Whereas, to me, honestly, I think if there's a school out of the triangle that can make it, in my mind, it's actually Duke. Because Duke has State at home. Yes. You got to go to Syracuse. You got to go to Cal, but Cal's not that good. Georgia Tech's at home. You get UNC, obviously. You get Virginia at home. You get Wake Forest at home. You got to go to Clemson. That's obviously going to be tough as well. Certainly, again, the rivalry games are always going to be a toss-up in and of itself. But, I mean, we could honestly be looking at Duke 7-1 in the ACC. Their only losses to Clemson.
Definite possibility.
It's not out of the realm of possibility for sure. But if you want to tell me, yeah, they're going to go 4-4 conference play, I'd be like, yeah, I could be talked into that too.
I would take the over on 6.5. And I would be reluctant to say like 7-1 in conference, but I understand there's the possibility there. I actually think we're going to know a lot about both State and Duke after their first 3 games, which aren't a murderer's row, but there's just enough spice there to kind of show us their DNA. State's first 3 are ECU, Virginia, and then Wake. And it's at Wake, so a little different, even though it's not that far. And then Duke's Elon, Illinois, and Tulane. Again,
Tulane's on the road.
Tulane is on the road. It's not again, neither are murderer's row, but there's just enough intrigue there that I think we'll know a lot about those two teams after the first 3 games. If they're both 3-0, and I believe they play each other the 4th game, then it's like, oh, these teams they might be something here. Could be a really fun little matchup. The Drive with Tim, I don't know why I called it little. Could be a fun matchup. The Drive with Tim,
big matchup. Get game day here.
I don't know why I said fun little matchup. That's so talking about your little brother. There's no reason for me to do that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here from my good friends over at Loan Pronto. Folks, you struggling with high interest debt? Maybe you are, got those credit cards maxed out? Got to give Loan Pronto a call. Loan Pronto, their rapid equity loan program is amazing. One client recently got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They were able to remodel their kitchen, pay off debt, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That is a massive turnaround. Here's the thing about Loan Pronto as well. They are A+ rated by the BBB, over 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is outstanding. But most importantly, as a homeowner, your home equity is yours. Use it. Use your home equity. Get down that high interest rate. Get rid of it. But also, most importantly, just get everything down to one simple, easy, low 1 monthly payment. Give them a call, 919-381-1760, or give them a visit at loanpronto.com. Again, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Get the conversation started now, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, names the Carolina Hurricanes lines that we want to see game 1 as the roster stands today on one of our last barroom debate Canes segments that we can have before football gets started. Stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Are the Detroit Lions really as close as we think they are?
Yeah, I think the Detroit Lions are right there. And I believe in the culture that head coach Dan Campbell has built in the Motor City. Yeah, I think the Detroit Lions are going to be right there again, vying for NFC supremacy. And I think this is one of the best teams in all of football.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with AutoPay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 in monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington is taking the hassle out of getting the best price on your new 2025 Ram 1500 with employee pricing for everyone. And along with employee pricing, you could get 3.9% for 72 months too. See dealer for details. With John Heister having the largest inventory and the best selection in the Raleigh area, you're sure to find the one with your name on it. So get off your keister and come to Heister for the Make This the Summer event. John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The Carolina Hurricanes have shaken up their roster a bit this offseason. Dmitry Orlov, gone. Brent Burns, see ya. Jack Roslovic, still a free agent. They've also brought in some players, signed some extensions. What's up, Keandre Miller? How's it going, Nikolai Ehlers? Logan Stankoven, you're not leaving. And one of the all-time hockey fan moves. This actually works for darn near every sport, right? Baseball too. Like set the lineup. We all get to kind of pretend we're the coach and say, this is how I would use. This is the right way to use the lineup. This is who they need to skate together. So, in the interest of tomorrow, we're at ACC Media Days, kicking off the football season. We'll be talking to players, coaches, analysts, everybody for tomorrow and the next day. And then from that point forward, the Carolina Panthers are in training camp. Preseason's staring us down. College football is really not that far away from actual game action. There's less time for the debates of the hockey offseason until hockey gets here. And you know, if there's a big trade or something, we make time. But I thought we would just ask this question. How do you see the lines for the Canes on day one? Who's skating with who? And I'm not just asking for what you predict Rod Brindamore is going to do. I'm asking for like what you think is the correct lines to put out there day one. Now, if anyone has a different I'll talk through mine, Dennis, and you can jump in and where you agree and disagree.
All right.
Does anybody have a different line than Aho, Ehlers, and Jarvis?
No.
Because I do think there are some that would like to see Jarvis get first crack at being a center.
Sure.
I want Aho, Jarvis, and Ehlers next to each other. I want a feared first line. Are we on board there?
I'm with it.
So then the next question is, who's your second line center? I'm throwing Stankoven between Hall and Svechnikov. I want to see if Logan Stankoven can be that guy, and I want to know quickly, right? I want to know very early if he's showing the flashes and the face-off abilities and everything else, because if it's not him, then guess what? We move him back, we put him out on a wing, and he can stay there for the next 8 years, and I'm cool with it. But I do want to give him the chance to center that line, because the other thing is, you want to know how aggressively you have to pursue a trade second-line center. If Stankoven surprises and he's awesome, and that line, or at least he, produces, then you get to go, all right, we actually, we had the solution here. We didn't know it. So I'm putting Stankoven at the second one, again, with Svech on one side, Hall on the other.
Yeah, I see what you're going with there. That's a tough one for me, because I know that Kotkaniemi's going to get another shot there. At least at the start of the year, it's going to be most likely Svech, Kotkaniemi, Taylor Hall.
That's why I prefaced this with not what you think Rod will do, it's what you think is the correct thing, which is hilarious for me to tell Rod, like, not what you would do, what is correct. It's what I think is correct, which probably is wrong a lot more often than Rod. I don't know why I said probably, but yes. So if you were Rod Brindamore, right? This is a Freaky Friday situation. Shout out to Lindsay Lohan. You wake up one day and you and Rod have flipped occupations, and they give you the lineup card for game one. You're writing Kotkaniemi for second line center?
I probably will want to put, if this is me doing it
This
again,
is you.
Freaky Friday situation.
And it's July 22nd, right? This is no bad ideas, just dumb ones.
I'd probably go Stankoven.
All right, you're with me.
I probably would.
Are your wings Svech and Hall?
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
Beautiful. So now the question becomes the quote-unquote third line, the stall line, the identity line, whatever the heck you want to call it. Stall Martinook, any issues?
No.
Who are you skating with him?
Robinson.
Interesting. I put Carrier.
I could see it 100% too. But I think Robinson actually gives you a little bit more element of speed.
Yeah, call it the lurch line or something like that. Like, to me, if you put Stahl, Carrier, and Martinook, I'll call it the horror movie, because you know when the monster is chasing the people and they're running full speed, but the monster is walking but somehow keeping up with them, like just the shadow of them. That's how I see that line. It's like they're not moving fast, but somehow they're in front of all the fast people. Like they're locking them up. Doesn't make sense. It's a horror movie. But that's why I threw Carrier there. I also like having just a much more physical line, and I think Carrier brings that. Not that Robinson doesn't, but obviously
Robinson's one of the bigger forwards on the team.
Yeah, but sometimes he wins with speed. Carrier, he's just like
he's a great skater.
I'm coming through. So then your your fourth line would be, I have Kotkaniemi there. You do as well, because you put Stankoven up top. On one side, Carrier. On one side, Blake.
No. Jankowski.
So you have Carrier not even in the lineup.
Correct.
Interesting.
Jankowski gives me a little bit more versatility in case I need to bump somebody to center, if I got to reshuffle my lines. He's in-game, and he's also a good penalty killer as well. I need that element on my team.
See, I may have boxed myself into this one. I have fallen in love with the idea of Jankowski as the healthy extra forward, because no matter who gets hurt, his versatility is like, yeah, you can do that, right? You need a center, cool. You need that. You need someone on a PK, yeah, he can do that. You need a winger, yeah, he can do that. You need someone physical, yeah. Like he's, by the way, I don't think he's like some kind of unbelievable all-star, but I think he's versatile enough. I think he's veteran enough. He can score for you, obviously, as he showed the first 10 days that he was a Cane, or 10 games that he was a Cane. I'm in love with him as the healthy extra, so I didn't even really consider sliding him in there. My fourth line was Kotkaniemi, Blake, and Robinson, and I want a large part of that line to be, let's get Blake some scoring opportunities, because I want to continue to develop him as a potential dude, even though he's down there on the quote-unquote fourth line.
Mark-Jane Gretzky, come on now. Can't let that guy sit.
The first 10 games. If you told me it was going to be 7 goals in 7 games or whatever it was to start, then I'm in. But I don't know if, it's good business to just expect that forever.
By the way, we are 60 days until Kane's preseason game number 1.
60?
60.
That's 2 months. That's nothing.
I know.
That's nothing. That's surprising, actually.
I
the
will say
NHL
this,
offseason is a blink.
Oh, it really is. I will say, though, they do have 13 quality forwards on their team.
For sure.
Like 13 guys that can play every day in the NHL.
For sure.
They really do.
I mean, I have Jankowski out. I have Carrier on my third line. You have him as a healthy extra.
Yeah. It's not an easy choice.
No, it's not. So it says something there. For defense.
Oh, but real quick, our guy Micah wants Jackson Blake scratched.
So it would be Kotkaniemi centering Jankowski and Robinson?
I guess, yeah.
That's another. It's got more size there. I'm not putting Blake on.
I know, you can't put a guy who was rookie last year that's 17 goals.
I'm not putting Blake on the bench.
Can't. If that's the case, trade him.
Do it now before they know you're going to bench him, because there's a lot of value there. On the blue line, I think the 6 as the roster situated right now are obvious, right? It's from returners. It's Jacob Slavin, Sean Walker, Jalen Chatfield, and the Ghost, Shane Gostisbehere. New guys, Keandre Miller. I didn't even mention this as a new guy because he was there at the end of the postseason. Alexander Nikishin slots in. Who are you the big question is, who are you skating offhanded, right? You got 4 left-handed guys. Somebody's going to have to move over to the right. Which one is it?
Gostisbehere.
Yeah, I have Gostisbehere as well. Who is he skating with becomes the next question. I have him with Nikishin.
As do I.
All right, cool. Slavin Walker, top line or top pair?
Slavin Walker, yep.
Miller, Chatfield.
Yep.
And then Nikishin with Gostisbehere.
That's it.
I didn't love having Gostisbehere and Nikishin together at first, but I love the other 2 pairings so much that I was like, they got to figure it out. Because Nikishin is new and obviously still getting used to NHL everything and North America everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Gostisbehere offhanded, there could be some interesting things there as far as maybe communication and assignments and everything between those 2 guys. But I look at Miller and Chatfield and I just see speed and flying around and everything else. I look at Slavin and Walker and I just see every bit of savvy and every bit of kind of fundamentally soundness. And Nikishin and Ghost are too good to not be on the ice, so they get paired together almost by default.
I think as well, if you're going to have Gostisbehere quarterbacking, you're probably your top power play unit again. My guess is Nikishin will probably quarterback your second power play unit.
I agree.
Which allows those top 2 pairs to just sit, chill, relax for a couple minutes, and then they can come out fresh and ready to go.
And I am open to, if Nikishin on the second power play unit shows the special, flipping those assignments as well if it goes well, because Nikishin obviously is bringing some physical ability that is pretty darn rare. So I'm starting with Ghost on the first power play unit, but Nikishin is lurking there, and I think that's the goal. Also, you got to think, Nikishin long-term contract and everything. If he wants to be first power play unit, keep him happy if it makes sense. Don't do it just for that reason, but if it makes sense, it's there. And then in goal, how are you? Like, obviously, it's Freddie Anderson and it's Pyotr Kochetkov. We haven't heard anything new, no big trades, nothing crazy. How are you deploying them? Who's first? Is it the back to the 1-1-1-1-1-1 rotation? What are you looking at?
My guess, Freddie's going to be your opening night starter.
That's
my guess.
That.
And in looking at things, I probably would go Freddie as my opening night starter, but I'm going to go every other game with those guys as long as I can.
I agree. I think that is the path of least resistance. You know that I'm a big Pyotr Kochetkov fan, and I like maybe his dynamic ability. Last year, particularly the skid towards the end of the year, and the way Freddie played at times unbelievably in the postseason. I think it's very difficult to expect anything else than Freddie opening night, and based on how they've played in the regular season the last few years, a heavy rotation. I don't know if it's one game the entire season if they're both healthy, but something close to it, right? It's something close to it. I wouldn't be surprised. And then next offseason is when you make the move, perhaps for a bigger, longer-term, flashier solution in goal. If you have any problems with the way we drew up the lines, you can comment them on YouTube. You can hit us up on social media. Carrier pigeon, I don't care. We are 60 days to the first preseason game of the Carolina Hurricanes.
It's kind of wild.
And it's kind of crazy because 60 days out, we already have it perfect. It's all settled. Now we just have to wait.
All right.
There it is. We're done. Send it to Rod and say, go on vacation.
Yeah, we'll see you in a couple months.
Go to the beach. A gym? Do you think he goes to like a gym for vacation? Probably, right?
He might, actually. His vacation needs to have a gym.
That's probably true, too. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the starting 5 coming up next, including some breaking news out of the Carolina Panthers training camp facility earlier today. Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
Everybody in Duke's starting five that made the Final Four got drafted. 3 of them in the top 10. Cooper Flagg 1, Konkanippel 4, Kamon Malawak went 10. Sion James and Tyrese Proctor also drafted. And I keep hearing, how did they not win the title? How did they not even make it to Monday night? Carolina had Jamison and Carter and didn't make it to the championship game 2 years in a row. It's sports.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Sports can be unpredictable. Your elevator shouldn't be. That's why you need Metro Elevator, Raleigh's hometown team for expert commercial elevator service. Locally owned and operated, we specialize in keeping your building moving with top-tier repair, maintenance, modernization, and installation. Our highly trained technicians deliver fast, responsive service to ensure your elevators run smoothly. No surprises, just results. Trust Raleigh's own Metro Elevator to keep you moving. Learn more at metro-elevator.com/Raleigh.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. If you're in the market for a mortgage, good luck. Comparing apples to oranges is now more challenging than ever, as we've noticed a return to 80s-style lending with multiple points being charged up front in order to make the payment appear more attractive. Typically, the lowest rate quote you find will have the highest closing cost you'll find, as numerous lenders play this game of getting you to focus only on the payment and not the $15,000 due at closing. On refinancing, it's even worse, as lenders willingly add these costs to your loan amount. At Miller Lending, we don't believe in closing costs. By working with our popular no-cost program, you simply close on today's rates and refinance anytime you'd like. Nothing rolled in, nothing charged at closing. Imagine having the freedom to take advantage of smaller rate drops, opportunities to drop PMI, or simply put that money to better use. So before you throw away thousands of dollars in needless fees, pick up the phone and call Miller Lending today. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender on MLS number 250-2146.
Here's Megan with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Are sleepless nights affecting your life? Parkway Sleep Health Centers can help. We've treated sleep disorders in the Triangle and beyond for over 20 years. We offer sleep studies, office visits, CPAP machines, supplies, and more. And our streamlined process allows us to see you sooner and usually saves hundreds of dollars.
End sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
At Bailey's, love not only sparkles, but it also gives back. Hi, I'm Marcy Bailey. Yes, we have high-quality certified diamonds that fit your budget. But did you know that when you say I do with an engagement ring from Bailey's, a donation is made to the food bank to help feed a local family of 4 for an entire month? Celebrate your love with Bailey's, where every diamond helps create a brighter future. Bailey's Fine Jewelry, voted the best place to buy your diamond.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WREL meteorologist Amy Wilmoth. The humidity down just a little bit with temperatures near normal this afternoon, close to 90. Overnight tonight, we'll get down into the upper 60s under mostly clear skies. We'll have plenty of sunshine on Wednesday with a high temperature of 91.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell up 179 points to 44,502.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting 5, and we have a lot to get to. So let's jump to the starting 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Josie Jewell, released by the Carolina Panthers earlier today. Did not see this one coming. Josie Jewell, by my projections, was an expected starter for the Carolina Panthers at one of their inside linebacker positions. He did miss the last 2 games of last year with a concussion, and it appears as though he is still dealing with those symptoms and is still in concussion protocol. So according to a team spokesperson, the 30-year-old Jewel wanted to prioritize his health and recovery and be considerate of his teammates, and the move allows the Panthers to move forward with a group of players who are able to get all the practice reps when camp opens tomorrow. Did get at least one inquiry on social media about could they put him on the physically unable to perform list, aka the PUP list. The PUP list is a difficult thing to navigate during the early parts of training camp. If you're on the reserve PUP list, which means you don't take up a roster spot at this point in the year, you can't play at all this year. You're done. If you are on the active PUP list, you can't participate in practice. You can be there for all activities. However, you are taking up a roster spot. So they obviously didn't want him taking up a roster spot, thus the whole part about they can move forward with players who are able to participate. You can, if you're on the active PUP list, this is so confusing. At the time of final roster cutdowns, you can go on the reserve PUP list, and in which case you only need to miss the first 4 games of the season. But if you're on the reserve PUP list before final cutdowns, you miss the entirety of the season. So basically, and by the way, credit to Jewel, it does appear as if this was a working together situation. They discussed, according to some insiders, a restructuring of the deal, something that may have worked out for both. And in the end, they just felt it was better with 2 years left on his contract to release him. And as the team added on their release here from the team website, if all goes well with his recovery, he could return to the team at some point in the future. So if he continues to work on his recovery, protocols and everything else, a couple months from now, who knows? Maybe he comes back and re-signs with the Panthers if they still have a spot for him. But for now, he is released. Which, all right, let's do the serious thing.
Okay.
Concussions, nothing to mess with.
Nothing.
You do what's best for yourself and your family and your future and your health. And teams have gotten much, much better at supporting that. So that is part of it. The other part of it is puts the Panthers in a bit of a bind at off-ball linebacker, right?
Oh, yeah.
I looked at it as almost a three-person linebacker room that they were happy and comfortable with at those 2 slots, those 2 positions. And then some depth guys that are, well, if we got to play them, that's not great, but, they're there and they're working. With the 3 being Christian Roseboom, who they signed, was a Rams starter. Low money 1-year deal, but you need a few of those on your roster to start to make the cap work. Trevin Wallace, who's going into his 2nd year as, I believe, a 3rd-round pick.
Yep.
A little bit undersized, speed guy. I think pretty good in coverage. Maybe a few other things got to work on. And then there was Josie Jewell. Take Josie Jewell out of that equation. Those 2 other linebackers now are very, very important. And there's no more rotating, right? There's no more, hey, on rundowns you're in, pass downs you're in. To me, those 2 guys become, they're warriors out there now. They're playing sideline to sideline as often as you can possibly do it. And also maybe now Dan Morgan looks around at the linebacker market to see if there's somebody who maybe doesn't excite you a ton, maybe doesn't bring in the highest ceiling of the bunch, but can get out there and play some snaps for you. It's almost like going from, we want a starter that can strike guys out to we need an innings eater. We need somebody that can give us 200 innings a year and we'll figure, if it's a 4 or 5 ERA, we'll figure it out. This is not the best news for the Carolina Panthers with practice starting tomorrow. And I'm trying not to be doom and gloom all day going into practice hasn't even started yet. You already lost someone to concussion symptoms. Again, serious, good, take care of your body. From a football standpoint, this is not what you hope for before practice even starts for training camp, which starts up tomorrow.
Yeah, if I'm Mijiro Evero, the defensive coordinator, my head might be spinning a little bit going, well, wait a second. I had plans. This whole offseason, I was planning, okay, in these sub-packages, I can move these guys around and do this. Well, wipe that erase board. You just wipe that whiteboard clean. You got to start over here.
And Jewel, not only, second on the team in tackles with 97, 7 tackles for a loss, 3.5 sacks for a team that desperately needs pass rush, 2 fumble recoveries, an interception for a team that desperately needs turnovers. Not only was he a productive player, he also came from Denver, where he had a history of playing for Evero, the DC. He was a guy that was involved in calling plays and being that type of leader for the Carolina Panthers. They're going to miss him on multiple fronts. And, there's a good book. I think it was a Michael Lewis book about the NFL and kind of how they operate. You know what the title of that book was? Next Man Up. You got to be ready for the next man up. You got to be preparing the next man up because you never know when a situation like this is going to happen. By the way, other place in the division, the Saints have to find a safety. Do you know why? Because Tyrann Mathieu retired right on the doorstep of the training camp, and reportedly they were surprised by it. So you're not the only one dealing with a surprise absence on your defense. That was number 5. Let's hit number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Speaking of kind of that news I just brought up, Tyrann Mathieu, the NFL is in full NFL reality television show mode. There's news coming from all across the league. Philip Rivers retired. Sure, some of you are saying he hasn't played in 4 years. But he finally signed his 1-year contract with the Chargers to retire a Charger, as he should. One of the greatest players in the history of that organization. He should, have the opportunity to say goodbye as a Los Angeles Charger, a San Diego Charger, really, but as a Los Angeles Charger. Cool for him. Had a bunch of good moments, and now he gets to, focus on his high school coaching career. Elsewhere in the NFL, Trey Hendrickson, the NFL sack leader from last year, Cincinnati Bengals. Guess where he is right now? The Bengals are opening up training camp in Cincinnati. Guess where he is?
Not in Cincinnati.
Florida.
Yeah.
He had been in Cincinnati the last 30 days. He had been there waiting. They're negotiating a new contract, and he was hopeful. And guess what? He and his wife said, these deals aren't even close. Let's pack up and go to Florida. He's down in Jacksonville working out, staying in shape. But there are, by the way, take everything grain of salt in the media with negotiations. Agents are trying to get their point across. Teams trying to get their point across. Hendrickson is saying they're not guaranteeing him anything beyond the first year. When you look at other great edge rushers, the Myles Garretts, the TJ Watts, it's kind of industry standard. You get 3 years guaranteed, the first 3 years guaranteed. They're not giving him anything beyond the first year guaranteed. Now, he has said, I'm willing to take less in a lot of ways, but that's something that he's kind of sticking on. Yes, the Bengals are digging in their heels. Interesting move for a team with one of the worst defenses in the league to say, we had one player that was good. Let's not have him back for training camp.
Oh, and your first-round pick, Shamar Stewart, who's also supposed to be an edge rusher. You haven't even signed him yet.
There are 2. Matter of fact, we can use this in NFL news. 2 second-round picks that still aren't 2 picks that aren't signed yet, not just second-round picks. One makes some sense. Quinshon Judkins, running back for the Browns, early second-round pick. He has some legal issues going on, and I guess they want to sort that out prior to him.
Yeah, and I think even he himself, it's like, let me go deal with this before thinking of football.
Yes, the day when most of the second-rounders were signing, he had a court appearance. So, again, innocent until proven guilty. I don't know all the details there, but that one's kind of like, it makes sense why he's an outlier on signing his contract. And then there's Shamar Stewart, first-round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, we don't know what's true, what's not in negotiations, but the rumors are the holdup is the Bengals want to have outs if there are disciplinary reasons, and Shamar Stewart is looking at him going, you don't have these in a bunch of other contracts. Why am I the only one with these outs where all my guaranteed money gets negated in certain situations? And they both dug their heels in, and who knows how that's going to sort out. So the Bengals had one bright spot on their defense and then used their first-round pick to improve their defense, and as training camp starts, neither of them are there.
Yeah, I know. Hey, congrats, Joe Burrow. You get to throw for 5,000 yards this season.
1,000 attempts. Has it ever been done?
Yeah, I know.
Terry McLaurin not reporting in Washington.
Yeah, I thought that was a little interesting.
That's a weird one.
I thought he might do the whole hold in where he shows up. Hey, I'm here. I'm not running, but I'm standing over here.
Can't find me.
Can't find me. I'm here.
Terry McLaurin, and I've done some coverage of Washington throughout my career. He's been there through the bad times, and he's been wildly loyal.
Yeah.
There's been some real bad times where he was the mouthpiece of he was the one going to the press conference and answering for some real bad things that he had nothing to do with. And to not take care of him now that things are going well seems a bit, don't love that.
He's been there since 2019.
And, I mean,
he's a darn good player, too.
He's really good. He's really impressive to speak with. And he cranks out 1,000-yard seasons no matter who the quarterback is. He's one of those guys who it's like, he's through his first 4 years, he's caught passes from 78 quarterbacks and somehow keeps producing. And then this past year he had 13 touchdowns. I'm baffled that he's the one that Washington is like, let's prove a point here. It's like, I don't know if that's the one you want to do it with.
Yeah, if you look at the last 5 years for Terry McLaurin, the lowest reception total he's had in a season in terms of receptions is 77, and the lowest yards is 1,002.
And if you look at some of the quarterbacks he was playing with.
Yeah.
Not the 27 Yankees. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of other stuff. It's the NFL. Once I mean, now he's getting fined. There's just so much reality television going on in the NFL. Although it is kind of nice. I guess the Josie Jewell kind of is, but I was going to say, like, the dysfunction really isn't in Carolina.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call that dysfunction. That's
what
just
I'm
more
saying.
or less just bad luck.
Like, there's news out of Carolina. It's better no news is good news. But the dysfunction really isn't there, which is, hey, no Brian Burns holdouts, none of that stuff going on. It's kind of nice. That's number 4. Let's say number 3.
What?
USA Today put out their version of the ACC preseason predictions. All ACC team as well as final standings predictions. I'll give you the local guys that are on either the first team offense or defense, all ACC teams. On the offense, Justin Jolie, tight end from NC State, made the first team. And Brian Parker, offensive lineman, tackle from Duke, made the first team. That's it as far as teams from North Carolina being represented. And then on defense, you got Chandler Rivers and Terry Moore from Duke in the secondary. Terry Moore safety, Chandler Rivers corner. And that's it for representation from North Carolina on the defense. It is a lot of Clemson. And rightfully so, right? When you look at the predicted order of finish from the USA Today, Clemson, Miami, SMU, Louisville, Georgia Tech, then Duke in 6th. Florida State, Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, then NC State in 10th. Syracuse, then UNC at 12th. Boston College, Virginia, then Wake Forest in 15th. Cal Stanford bringing up the rear in 16th and 17th. Duke in 6th, I'm okay with. Okay? If you want to argue them around Georgia Tech, I think we can hear that, but I'm okay with it. NC State feels a little low. Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, I'm not sure I'm cool with that if I'm NC State. Although I will give this State's been wildly quiet this offseason. And I think that's by design. I think they're trying to sneak up on people. I think it's like, part of their plan here. And because of that, there's just going to be less hype going into certain predictions, right? Like, this is a media-voted poll. The media, as objective as they hope and try to be, they are human, right? And if you don't hear about somebody for an entire offseason, they're not going to be at top of mind when you're filling out your bracket. North Carolina in 12th. I don't think anyone knows anything. They have no clue what to do with the Tar Heels. Because you're looking at it going, from recruiting ranking standpoint and from the talent or the experience or the production is low, but then you're also going, but they also have Bill Belichick coaching. Does his first foray into college mean you should multiply their talent by 2 or divide it by 2? We don't know. They end up in 12th. I think Syracuse is low in 11th. It is a really weird year in the ACC. I think the top 6 are kind of they make sense. Clemson, Miami, SMU, Louisville, Georgia Tech, Duke. 7-13?
Yeah, 7's Florida State.
7's Florida State down to Boston College in 13th. I don't think you know what to do with those. I think you could go full Scrabble and just reach into the bag and pull them out and put them into an order, and no one's going to have a huge problem with any of it because it's the transfer portal and every coaches changing and so much. It's hard to know. I do think you go below that. Virginia, Wake Forest, Cal, Stanford are where they are, maybe for a reason. But that middle section, there's a lot of real estate, a lot of upward and downward mobility for a lot of those teams. By the way, we'll be voting in the ACC media polls that'll be revealed at the end of Media Day, so hope I didn't just hint at where my vote will be going. Got to do a little bit more research. What number was that? 3? Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
I wanted to get to this earlier. We didn't have time, so we'll get to it now. The Carolina Panthers opened up their kind of training camp media availabilities today. Practice starts tomorrow, but we didn't have the opportunity to hear some of the audio from Nick Scorton, which is kind of topical because Nick Scorton, second-round pick, just signed his deal over the weekend, and he is now in the mix starting from practice number 1, which was up in the air there for a second or two. Nick Scorton, along with third-round pick Princely Umanmielen, I think are pretty darn important to the pass rush for the Carolina Panthers. I think they're going to be depended upon as much as any second and third round pick across the NFL. Scorton talked about his relationship with Princely during his media availability today. Here's that audio.
It's going so much. I mean, the more time that you put sweat in with the guy, and then, us coming in rookies, the same position group, we kind of put together. I mean, we're just starting to click, and I really respect Princely, and I'm trying to find ways to where me and him can work off each other, and that's just us getting more snaps together during camp and getting better. But it's been great, man, to be around such another high caliber SEC rusher. He was a first team All SEC too as well.
From rivals to friends, right? Texas A&M for Scorton, although he started his career at Purdue. Ole Miss for Umanmielen, although he started his career at Florida. They both end up All ACC. They both end up with the Carolina Panthers. One of the things I'm so jealous of many other positions, I played college football at quarterback, is other positions get to be so much more like camaraderie, right? Meet at the quarterback is so cool to say if you're a defensive lineman. Quarterback, it's like, if you get hurt, I'll be here. Like, it's not nearly as woo. They get to be like buddies. I think that's going to be really fun for them, and if they both have huge rookie years, they just build off of each other. It's like, I hope you get double teamed and I'll take advantage of it until I'm good enough to get double teamed, then you'll take advantage of it, and you just have fun. Scorton also talked about his playing weight, what he's at coming into camp, and kind of what that means for his play. Here's Scorton.
Wanted to drop weight because everybody looked at me as a tweener, and I did. And I was light in OTAs, and I liked it. I felt more explosive. So the offseason I wanted to put on a little bit more pounds. I'm at 265 right now, and I think this is the perfect weight where like the balance where I can pass rush and defend the run and be physical and things like that.
So Scorton, how much he weighs, I'm going to use throughout his career as like a indicator of what he's going to be asked to do by the team. At the end of his college career, he was listed at, depending on where you looked, 280 or 285. At the combine, he weighed in at 257. Now he's 265. Earlier in his college career, he was down in the 260s. If you're going to ask him to bump inside and kind of be a all the way super versatile, could play tackle on pass downs and rush from the inside guy, you probably want him closer to the 275, 280, 285 way. If you want him to be mostly on the outside, you don't want him to be 220, but you want him to be able to use his speed a little bit more, kind of be more of a pass rush guy, you probably want him at 265 or under. So the fact that he's coming into camp 265, assuming that there were conversations between he and the coaching staff about where they want him, I think his task is going to be more pass rushing than maybe, super versatile, all over the place defensive lineman like he was used later in his career at Texas A&M. I think that's good, because if you look at the rest of the Carolina Panthers defensive front, I think they got a lot of dudes in the middle that can anchor down and gobble up double teams and stop the run, and I think they need more help on the outside. So, get after it, Nick Scourton. And for him, that's got to be more fun, right? I mean, I don't have to take on guards and tackles or guards and centers and just try to not let them double team to the linebacker, and instead I get to go try to knock quarterbacks' heads off. I don't know. If I were a defensive lineman, that sounds more fun.
Sold.
Shout out to Baker Mayfield, Tyler Shuck, and whoever else they want to go play. Trevor Lawrence, week 1.
I had Trevor Lawrence.
That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
Basketball is the crown jewel of all of our championships, I think. CFP certainly is really important and draws an awful lot, ends up being a financial engine for all of us. But I think the country really enjoys March like nothing else.
Jim Phillips, ACC commissioner, comments there from earlier today out at ACC Media Days in Charlotte. I wonder how many other conference commissioners at their ACC football kickoff event decided to wax poetic about basketball. I don't think there were many. And I'm not, by the way, I do think basketball matters, and I think it is part of the ACC secret sauce. But I also think you need to make sure your football is top shelf as well, because that is, in a lot of ways, what's making the world go round now. Speaking of football and how you're going to move forward, Jim Phillips was asked if ACC football would go to 9 conference games, which would obviously increase the inventory for your media rights and increase likely the quality of your schedule, taking off some of the pushover non-conference games and replacing it with another ACC game. Here's Jim Phillips.
We have discussed 9. We've discussed 9 several times in my 5 years as commissioner. The group has always felt that at the end of the day, those non-conference games have really been good for the league, and we have really scheduled well. So it isn't as if our league has just kind of looked aside about strength of schedule. They have. If you go to 9, if the SEC ends up going to 9 and maybe we end up going to 9, I think there's a few challenges. Those rivalry games that we really enjoy, I think that the fans really enjoy, I think some of those go away. And it now focuses more on everybody's conference schedule than it is a mix of conference schedule and non-conference. Also, I think it's a challenge for us with an odd number of schools at 17 and how you exactly work that out.
All right, fine. Welcome in Notre Dame as another even-numbered school. There you go. Now we got 18. Or actually, you know what you should do? Call up Memphis. Ask if they still have that $250 million they were offering the Big 12 to join them. Oh, look at that.
For real.
Now you're at 18 schools. Is that easier, Jim? And Memphis is pretty good basketball. They'd fit in. You're talking basketball. It makes sense, right? They at least care about basketball. I don't know how good they are, but they definitely care about it.
They're not bad at basketball. That's for darn sure.
Listen, the 9 conference games thing comes down to can you be trusted? What I mean by that is, can teams be trusted to make their extra non-conference game against a Power 5 opponent that will raise the profile, that you win against another Power Conference team? And if it's not, then you need more. Like if you're going to go play another MAC team, or if you're going to go play some Sun Belt squad rather than a Power Conference team that you are going to win more often than not, then yeah, we need another ACC game. Can you be trusted is really what it comes down to. One more comment from Jim Phillips here on changes in college sports not being perfect right away and how they're adapting and looking towards the future of college sports as leadership for the Atlantic Coast Conference.
As we move forward and continue to meet this true reset moment, we must remember that everything will not be perfect immediately. We know we must get this right, which we take very seriously. We're being thoughtful about every detail and are committed to progress through learning, adapting, and strengthening the model to support and protect college sports for generations to come. And the obligation to get this right is one the entire industry shares, from me and my fellow commissioners to university presidents, athletic directors, and coaches. We have to commit to structure exercise restraint, and be intentional about resetting the culture of college athletics.
Exercise restraint. He was very, very emphatic about that. Do you know what's the hard part about all of that? And by the way, like, I wish everyone would, like, you know, we've heard of this before, right? Shake hands, look each other in the eye, and say, like, let's all do each other a solid. If the ACC is exercising restraint, do you think the Big Ten is? If the ACC is waiting for universal rules across the entire country, do you think the SEC is? Because that's who you're competing with. That's where the power, the land grab is, right? If you're, hey, you know, let's wait till we get recruiting and NIL and revenue share rules that we all agreed to. Meanwhile, the SEC is like, rules? What rules? I don't see no stinking rules. I'm paying players whatever I need to pay. Texas Tech, what are they, Big 12? They're paying everybody. Everybody's getting money. You get money. You get money. You get money. If the rules say you can't do that, they're going to go, oh, didn't know. It's really tough to compete when it is the wild, wild west in so many ways if you are trying to be like super rule follower. It's probably morally better, but competitively might not work. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. And we do need to grab some numbers game contestants, so get ready for that. Miller Lending and Gordon Miller, home of the no-cost loan. Here's something I want to emphasize when it comes to getting a mortgage. You can't always pick your timing. I guess if you're buying a second home or if you just got oodles and oodles of money, investment properties, yeah, you want to wait till the interest rates are as low as possible and then, or the mortgage rates are as low as possible, and then jump on it. But for those of us that have a main residence, and the reason you sell or buy a house is because life has told you have to, right? You lost your job, you're moving to where you got your new job. You got a new job in another state, so you're moving. You're moving the family for family reasons, closer to family, further away from family. Family's growing, you need a bigger house, right? Life tells you when you're looking for a mortgage in a lot of ways, and you can't always wait for your timing. So if rates are a little bit higher than you'd hope, but life is telling you it's time to get a mortgage, it's time to move, time to get a bigger house, Gordon Miller and Miller Lending want to make that as easy and as pain-free as possible for you. That's where the no closing cost loan comes in. If rates are a little higher, if your monthly payment is a little higher than you were hoping for, the least they can do is make sure you're not getting kind of double-punched, comboed with closing costs and fees and third-party fees and surcharges and also a slightly higher monthly payment than you're looking for. So they've eliminated closing costs. It's a no closing cost loan. No third-party fees, no extra surcharges, none of it. Zero means zero at Miller Lending. No money out of your pocket at closing, and that goes for refis as well. If you're interested, go ahead and give them a call. 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or visit them online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We have numbers game coming up, and we need a couple of contestants. So right now, if you want to play the numbers game, call in to 919-860-5326. The prize for today, a 4-pack of tickets to see Thomas Rhett at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 31st. Again, the number to call, 919-860-5326 to play the numbers game and maybe win a 4-pack of tickets to see Thomas Rhett. Numbers game next.
Join 99.9 The Fan live from Charlotte this week as we bring you the stories from ACC football kickoff. Touchdown, Carolina! We'll talk with the impact players and coaches from Carolina, Duke, and State and get their thoughts on the new college football season. Don't miss a single minute. It's ACC football kickoff. Touchdown, Wolfpack! Presented by Wilkinson Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC, and Sanford. Listen on 99.9 The Fan. Watch with 99.9 The Fan on YouTube.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
This is the story of the one.
As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. TNCs apply. Available in app only.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both. Go!
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. Prize for today, a 4-pack of tickets to see Thomas Rhett at Coastal Credit Union Music Park. The contestants, Sal in Morrisville and Cameron in Raleigh. As always, I'll ask the same question to both contestants. Dennis will pick his favorite answer. That person will get to go first. We'll start with Sal in Morrisville. Sal, can you hear me?
I can.
All right. The question is the same one we asked yesterday. This is a 4-pack of tickets to see Thomas Rhett as the prize. So in this scenario, you have 4 tickets to a concert, and you get to invite 3 people from at any point in time in sports history. They have to be connected to sports somehow. Dead or alive, you can invite anybody. What 3 are you bringing with you?
I am bringing John Daly, Babe Ruth, and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Who was that second one? I couldn't really hear you.
Babe Ruth.
So Daly, Babe Ruth, and Stone Cold Steve Austin is
Yes.
your group. Okay. All right. You are locked in. We will we'll see if Dennis ends up picking yours. That brings us to Cameron and Raleigh. Cameron and Raleigh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I sure can.
All right. Same question to you. It's a 4-pack of tickets as the prize today. So in this scenario, you have 4 concert tickets. Obviously, 1 ticket will be yours. The other 3 you get to give to anyone throughout sports history, player, coach, anybody, dead or alive. What 3 are you bringing?
Man, that's tough. Sal really nailed it. So I'm going to go with Dale Jr.
Okay.
In his 20s. I'm going to go with Floyd Mayweather.
All right.
And lastly, I'll go with Theon Fleury from the NHL player.
All right. So we got Dennis on one side. We have John Daly, Babe Ruth, and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, we have Dale Jr., specifically when he was in his 20s. Floyd Mayweather. I want to hear that conversation.
Yeah, I know, for real.
Between those two guys. And Fleury also is the other one.
Wow, Theo Fleury. Talking about a guy
Theo,
that's lived
yes.
left. I guess not Mark
Cameron
Andre.
said
that Sal nailed it, so I'm going to go with Sal on this one.
By the
I'm
way,
not going to lie, John Daly.
That is a lesson for everybody out there. If you compliment the other contestant's idea, it drastically decreases your chances of getting chosen. Unless you don't want to be chosen. Unless you're somebody that wants to go second, then compliment the other contestant. Sal in Morrisville, that means you are going first. Are you ready to pick a category?
I am.
All right, the categories are NFL. The names lead with Ed, meaning the first 2 letters of their first name are ED. NFL, TikTok's hottest players, not named Jimmy Garoppolo. NBA, Gonzaga's finest, all players that played their college ball at Gonzaga. Or NHL, Hurricanes only.
Gonzaga.
All right, NBA players that played at Gonzaga. I will give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock, 1 pass if you need it. And just to be clear, These players played at Gonzaga, but we are looking for their NBA number on the team that I give you. Any questions before we get started?
Oh, I'm good.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn.
Okay.
Andrew Nembhard, Indiana Pacers.
2.
Correct. DeMontis Sabonis, Sacramento Kings.
11.
Correct. Chet Holmgren, Oklahoma City Thunder.
7.
Correct. Jalen Suggs, Orlando Magic.
4.
Correct. Rui Hachimura, Los Angeles Lakers.
28.
Goodness gracious, Sal.
16 and a half seconds.
16 and a half. You are
hooked.
Just about 2 seconds off the all-time lead, and that's probably in our top 5 fastest ever. Congratulations, Sal. That's impressive.
Thank you.
All right, stay on the line. We'll see if it holds up. That would be an all-time beat if Cameron comes on here and just flies through it. Cameron, are you ready to pick a category?
Yeah, man. Let's make history.
Let's make history. I love the outlook. NFL. Here are the categories you get to choose from. NFL players.
I'm gonna do Hurricanes. It's all good.
Okay, you're gonna do Hurricanes. These are obviously. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. You need all 5 faster than the previous contestant. But even if you think you've gone longer, try to finish up because perfect scores still mean something that will reveal to you if you do get it. So keep going is what I'm saying. I will say the team in this category just so stays fair timing-wise with the others, even though we know the team. Any questions before we get started?
No, man. Let's do it.
All right.
House money.
House money. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Pyotr Kochetkov, Carolina Hurricanes.
52.
Correct. Teuvo Teravainen, Carolina Hurricanes.
86.
Correct. Victor Stallberg, Carolina Hurricanes.
49.
Incorrect. Patrick Eaves, Carolina Hurricanes.
44.
Correct. Wade Brookbank, Carolina Hurricanes.
28.
Correct. Victor Stallberg, Carolina Hurricanes.
Pass.
That's all we got. Victor Stallberg, Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, man. 47. 21.
Incorrect.
Oh,
Victor Stallberg, Carolina Hurricanes.
53.
Incorrect. Victor. Oh! I really thought we were about to go double 5s. You nailed 4 of them. You got Kochetkov, Teravainen, Eaves, Brookbank quickly, by the way. Stallberg, 25 is what we were looking for. So when you threw the one dart and you said, I don't know, 21, I was like, he's getting closer. Then you went back to the 50s. That was a valiant effort, Cameron. You didn't win, but keep your head held high on that one, all right?
Thanks. Props to Sal. Hell of an opponent.
There you go. Sal, congratulations.
Thank you. Well played, Cameron. You made me sweat there, buddy.
I couldn't understand whatever you said, but I'm going to assume you were celebrating putting up a 16.5-second perfect score. Congratulations, Sal.
Yeah, and I play. Kudos to Cameron. He played well. I was sweating there for a few minutes.
Oh, you don't have to lie to make him feel good, Sal. But we appreciate you for playing as always. Stay in the line. Dennis will grab the info to make sure you get your 4-pack of tickets to see Thomas Rhett.
Thank you.
Daily, Babe Ruth, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was his group going to a concert. Goodness gracious. That'd be a good tailgate as well. I mean, like a Thomas Rhett, you can get a little tailgate going. That's a good group. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That was the numbers game. We should have some news on the numbers game coming up in the not too distant future. I don't know if I'm supposed to be teasing it or not, but for those of you that love the game, there are some cool things coming up in the not too distant future. Coming up next, there is just one day, until the Carolina Panthers training camp. They open up practice tomorrow, which means today is our last day with a Panthers question of the day for the offseason, and we'll ask it coming up next.
The Adam Gold Show.
Everybody in Duke's starting 5 that made the Final Four got drafted. 3 of them in the top 10. Cooper Flagg 1, Con Knipple 4, Kamon Malawak went 10. Sion James and Tyrese Proctor also drafted. And I keep hearing, how did they not win the title? How did they not even make it to Monday night? Carolina had Jamison and Carter and didn't make it to the championship game 2 years in a row. It's sports.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
Struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. There is just one day until the Carolina Panthers are on the practice field, till training camp is underway, till last year's, bad season is yesterday's news, and it's all about this year. By the way, for those Panther fans that are maybe just getting out of work, maybe you weren't tuning in earlier, there was some breaking news out of training camp. That's got to be that's got to be so harrowing. Wait, practice starts tomorrow and there's breaking news today? It's not great news. Josie Jewell, projected starter at one of the inside linebacker positions, was released today. Now, it's not as simple as like they cut him. There's some medical input here. He missed the last 2 games of last year in concussion protocol, still dealing with concussion symptoms. It seems like this was almost a mutual decision that he wants to focus on his health, and he doesn't want to take up roster space and everything else from players that could or more likely will be able to take those reps and do something with them. So Josie Jewell is not a Panther anymore as of earlier today. I don't want to I'm trying not to be doom and gloom on this because he was an important player for the Panthers. But Dennis, how much does that change your expectations for the defense? Because the question for today, by the way, tomorrow's first day of training camp. Today's our last day of the Panthers question of the day. The question is simply, what is the expectation for the Carolina Panthers this season? How much does this change? Speaking defense specifically, a unit that needs to be much better than last year. You lose one of the leaders, you lose one of the veteran voices. Does it take you down a peg?
In my eyes, it does. Because you still have unproven Trevin Wallace, second-year player. Mm-hmm. Again, there's upside, but, again, still unproven. Upside can only take you so far in the immediate. And then you have Christian Roseboom, who was a one-year signing from the LA Rams, put up a bunch of tackles last year, but there are still limitations in his game.
He's a stopgap starter. He's somebody Band-Aid.
Exactly, and that's it for a team that struggled with depth and injuries last year, especially at inside backer, because We saw Jewell get banged up a couple times last year. Even Trevin Wallace was hurt for a stretch last year. Zach Thompson missed pretty much all of last season. And you're going through like number 5, 6, and 7 at off-ball linebacker last year, and it wasn't pretty.
Quite frankly, because of Josie Jewell, we probably haven't highlighted the issues at linebacker as much because it's like at least they have Jewell, right? Because we don't know who's going to be the starting free safety. We don't know who's going to be the guy getting after the quarterback for a team that didn't get. So that's where a lot of my attention has been focused, and the linebackers have kind of been pushed to the back burner. You take Josie Jewell away, it's at least equal to as concerning as those other spots. And I would probably, free safety and now inside linebacker are probably my two biggest uh-ohs because edge rusher is, but at least they've made some moves to solve it, right? They signed Pat Jones. They used their 2nd and 3rd round draft pick. So it's like we got to see if those fix the problem or not. Off-ball linebacker is now pretty concerning. And already the expectations for the defense weren't high. I'll read you the notes in front of me. The question for today was, what are the expectations for the Panthers this season? I had 7 wins or more, right? I think if they keep chipping away, 2 more wins, 3 more wins a season, like that's nice steps in the right direction. I had top half of the league offense. I want the offense in scoring, efficiency, all the metrics that matter. I want them to be like 15th or better is kind of what I'm looking at. Top half-ish of the league. For defense, I said non-bottom 10 defense, right? I wasn't expecting 12th defense in the league. I just don't want you to be in the dungeon. I don't want you to be in the cellar. That was my expectation for this year.
I think last year's defense was in the ground below the cellar. They were historically bad.
They dug a hole from the basement. Like that's where they were going. So I already wasn't coming in. And by the way, I wrote all that down well before I knew the Josie Jewell news. That broke during the show today. So already my expectations for the defense were not ambitious, right? I felt like I was kind of being cautiously optimistic. So you take away Josie Jewell, does it go down to like, geez, I hope we're not bottom 5? Does it go down to, it's almost like I turn towards taking even more chances. Like if you have a tackle that you think is pretty sure, like try to rip at the ball, even if it opens up a missed tackle as a possibility, because you need a couple of those wonky turnovers to make something happen. My confidence in the offense is rising.
Mm-hmm.
My confidence in the defense, I would say, is stagnant from last year. And that's not a great place to be when you were kind of historically bad last year.
I think as well, all the investment that they put on defensive front, like you mentioned, not just outside linebacker, but you brought in Bobby Brown.
Mm-hmm.
You also drafted Cam Jackson. Derek Brown is coming back.
Turk Wharton is one of your biggest money guys.
Yeah. It puts more emphasis on those guys because you got to if you're weak at off-ball linebacker, if those defensive linemen can eat up blocks, then it's going to alleviate a ton of pressure off Trevin Wallace and Christian Brosboom or whomever might be back there. Guess what? Bobby Brown, all those guys, show what you're worth now. Like you really, truly have to show it.
And to me, it's exciting and nerve-wracking for guys like Trevin Wallace. 3rd-round pick last year. He's shown some highlight ability. I remember him making a one-handed interception on Aaron Rodgers in preseason last year with the Jets during and going like, well, there's some physical ability there. Look at that. It's past the point of like, hey, you got some potential. It's to the point now where you got to go out there and produce every single game. And I always use this example. Little League baseball. This is the example I use for this specific situation when a young person gets an opportunity, a young player in the league gets an opportunity like Trevin Wallace. One of the best coaches I ever had was my Little League baseball coach. Coached me, and I like just great for everybody on the team. And one of the things he would do is if a pitcher was on the mound and could not find the strike zone, sometimes he'd go, all right, we're going to teach this kid a lesson in overcoming adversity. There would be no visits to the mound to talk you down and calm you down. There would be no going to the bullpen. It would be, you could have tears in your eyes. You could be mad at the ump. And he's just sitting there, hey, here we go. And you were out there and you had to figure it out. Nobody was going to save you, alone on the mound. It's a good life lesson, right? Sometimes you just got to get yourself out of the hole. Trevin Wallace, if he's out there and he misses 3 tackles on a drive and he drops an interception, and most coaches want to look to the veteran on the bench and go, all right, get him out of there. You're going to look at Trevin Wallace and go, you got to stay out there, buddy. You got to figure it out. Find the strike zone. Make the next tackle. That's all you can worry about, because we don't have a lot of depth over it. We've got some guys, right? Some special teamers, some other players that are like linebackers on the roster. But if Roseboom and Wallace are healthy, unless they go get someone else to replace Josie Jewell, if Roseboom and Wallace are healthy, Roseboom and Wallace are out there. And that's both freeing and a little terrifying. Right, because it's freeing in that you could make a mistake and you don't have a long leash, but it's also terrifying in that if you're not doing well, there's nobody to come save you. Right, if you're going to walk the bases around 4 times and your ERA is going to go through the roof, so be it. Right, this is for you to figure out how to deal with it. So Trevin Wallace, to me, 3rd-round pick last year, played a lot due to injuries, Shaq Thompson and others, and especially at the end of the year when even Josie Jewell got hurt, played a lot. By the end of this year, he's either going to be somebody that is very comfortable and very productive and out there, he's like, look at that. You're now an NFL starting linebacker. Or it's somebody where we're going to look back and go, gosh, that Josie Jewell injury really did the defense in before they ever even got to training camp.
I will say this, if there is a blessing in disguise in all this, you do have some time to figure it out.
True.
You don't play your first game until, September 8th or whatever it is? It's 6 weeks away.
Mm-hmm. And
you have time to figure it out.
And one of the biggest questions of replacing Josie Jewell is, well, he was the green dot, right?
He was.
So he's the player with the radio in his helmet that is the defensive coordinator is calling plays to. He's communicating it to the defense. You can figure out if somebody like Jewell or Roseboom is ready for that in practice, in training camp, right? It's a big responsibility. There are certain things you're just not going to know if they're ready for until you're using the to use the saying live bullets, right? Till you're out there in game situations. But in practice, you can find out if somebody's ready to make all the adjustments and make the calls and the audibles and everything else. So you can find out that, and then there might be a moment where it's, no, you know what? We got to go get somebody. We got to go get a vet, somebody that knows the system or whatever. So it's not ideal, but it is what it is. Again, my expectations for the Panthers, to answer the original question, 7 wins or more, top half of the league on offense. I'll go top 15. I know that's not exactly top half, but I want one more spot, and I want the defense. I had coming into today non-bottom 10. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna hold there. Even with the Jewell injury, they have enough time to make it up. Non-bottom 10. I want you to be at least the 11th worst defense. I don't think that's going too crazy with the expectations.
Like, if you can be the 22nd best defense in the NFL.
Yeah. To put it more optimistically, like glass half full, 22nd or better.
Honestly, no, we only have 2 minutes left. But if they had the 22nd best defense last year, they may have been a 7 or 8 win team. Let's be honest, because they lost a lot of close games. Remember, they went to overtime against Tampa Bay. They had a close game on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now Xavier Legette had that drop there late, but you never know. That defense could have given up a game-winning field goal in a matter of seconds. Also lost a close game against Kansas City last year. There were a lot of close losses there at different points of the season if you had just a slightly better defense.
And I know they were historically bad on a season-long statistical run. You can't do this, but I'm going to do it. If you took out the first 2 games, it looks better, right? By the time they were playing the Chiefs and the Eagles, the defense wasn't as bad as their season-long issues would say.
I don't know. They're still giving up a lot of 150 yards rushing.
They weren't good by any stretch. They may have been just the worst defense last year rather than the worst defense of the last 20, right? I'm not saying it was great, but I'm saying they weren't as bad as the final numbers say. And then other things, like you want to hope that a Bryce Young contract extension and everything else are at least talked about next offseason, because that would say things were going in the right direction. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Again, tomorrow we will be in Charlotte for ACC Media Day. A bunch of great interviews we'll be bringing you tomorrow and Thursday. Subscribe to our YouTube ahead of time. We're going to be posting those throughout the day, making sure everything's taken care of. 99.9 The Fan on YouTube if you don't want to miss any of that action. And And Carolina Panthers training camp starts tomorrow. It is a full, all-out blitz to football season starting tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you all will be along the ride with us. Other than that, that's about going to do it for us here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. We'll see you from Charlotte tomorrow. Until then, have a great night, everybody.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Are the Detroit Lions really as close as we think they are?
Yeah, I think the Detroit Lions are right there. And I believe in the culture that head coach Dan Campbell has built in the Motor City. Yeah, I think the Detroit Lions are going to be right there again, vying for NFC supremacy. And I think this is one of the best teams in all of football.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, it's Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. The Sign and Save sales event is happening now at Clayton Homes and Oakwood Homes, but only through August 31st. You can save up to $5,000 instantly on your new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. Discover the comfort, the style, and the value of a Clayton-built home, crafted with North Carolina in mind. From modern floor plans to energy-saving upgrades and premium finishes, there's a home fitting your lifestyle and, of course, your budget. And with summer heating up, it's the perfect time to enjoy energy-smart features for year-round comfort and savings.